Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I tells you. I tell you. I tell you. I tell you. Finishing up one class today. Got to do the shooting portion tomorrow. Today, we'll live on in infamy. Driving back to the house. About to run my mouth a little bit. Different things that actually make me think. It's actually very funny. And when we look at this here, we have to say to ourselves, there's a lot of craziness that's going on in the world today. A lot of stupidity. You have people who are so anti-gun that they give very inconsistent, ignorant, unsafe, ridiculous ways for people to protect themselves, or not protect themselves, if you will. There's an alderman in Chicago, out of all the damn places, right? Who said, if you see something or if a crime is appearing, to get a whistle. And if you hear a whistle, call the police. They don't want you to have a firearm to protect yourself. They don't want you to go get training to know how to safely and adequately use it. But they want you to get a goddamn whistle. I'm getting tired of saying this. A lot of Americans, I blame you because you vote for these stupid ass motherfuckers, man. Yeah, they playing sipping on. People are actually getting Republicans never promote true. Look at the governor of New York. Look at that broad. She's saying that the Supreme Court undermined the authority of a governor. But what you were doing, and what she won't admit that she was doing, was being unconstitutional and very biased. Very similar laws happened in the state of Maryland. And if you ever notice, a lot of your gun laws started only to restrict guns from black people, black men in particular. Because gun laws, they really don't want to say it, especially since the Mumford Act back in the 60s. When the Black Panthers open carried on the Capitol steps. In California. They didn't want to see it. They won't talk about the racist implications of gun control. Have you ever noticed the more liberal the state or the city, the higher the gun laws, but also the higher the crime, the violent crime? Think about it. Criminals have no fear in these liberal ran cities of carjacking, assaulting, robbing, even murdering. But you take away my ability to defend my life in some of these places, or anyone else's who's a law-abiding citizen of these United States. And you talk about, like, Alderman Smith in Chicago to go get a whistle if you see some crime or something dangerous occurring, and then call the police. A whistle. A whistle. But let me get back to the governor of New York who said, well, she tried to debunk the good guy with a gun theory. Well, our gun laws are really low. But your violence, period, is extremely high in your entire state. You leave your goddamn citizens as victims. But you won't admit how many robberies occur in your state. Let's just take one city, New York City. How many occur? You literally have the largest police department in the country inside your state. And recently, an officer was ambushed and beat, basically unconscious, by some criminals. Make that make sense. Logically, if he had a firearm, he could adequately defend himself. But it's never about defense. It's never about reasonable laws. It's about control. Police armed after duty. None of these politicians are protected by guns. Protection. I find that very hypocritical. In many cases, people are armed and they engage in active shooter. The active shooter, more times than not, either A, goddamn, she got an ass on her, but anyway, she either A, take his own life because most active shooters are cowards. That's why they try to go to places that are soft targets. Or B, a good amount of the time, that citizen or off-duty cop or whoever's in that scene that's armed takes care and neutralizes the threat to human life. Hold on, folks. I'm back, folks. Here it is. It's no secret. I'm from the great city of Baltimore, located in the great state of Maryland. How many of you? Hold on. But let's talk about how, especially in the black community, we have an issue with being so liberal. Or do I have to say our women are so liberal? Because guess what? Liberalism actually benefits them. Because a lot of them love the fact that we can neuter the men. We don't want the men to be protectors unless we guide it or deem it so. So a lot of these mothers and grandmothers raise their boys to be anti-gun, or the boys get pushed into the wrong direction, listening to people who they shouldn't listen to, and illegally utilize firearms with little to no training. The one thing you got to realize about children is that you have to take the curiosity of some things out of their mind early. You have to teach them. Instead of having a firearm safety class, you just make them phobic of the whole goddamn thing. But because you have no fathers or no male role models, predominantly in black households, a lot of these boys look for groups to confirm their masculinity and manhood that they're not getting from home. So they acquiesce to listening to OGs and other gang members. They go out there, once again, with little or no knowledge. Either one, hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or using that firearm in the commission of a crime. Instead of actually having programs to teach them gun safety and to respect the firearm. But yet, move the fuck out of the way, you drunk. But yet, we capitalize on the ignorance that black people love to hold so dearly when it comes to law enforcement, politics, and finance. We will complain about the violence in our city, but we'll vote people in who will keep it violent in your city and subjugate your rights to protect oneself. Make sense of that, please. You got all these states that were so anti-gun with their strict-ass laws worrying about if they can subjugate people instead of actually, why don't you make a standardized test for your state? Why don't you set up classes? Why don't you fairly and adequately make sure this person's a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual sound mind? Instead of picking and choosing which one of the elites get to do what the fuck they please. Because they love the fact that they can be unethical, unrealistic, and unconstitutional with your rights. I'm going to say this because majority of my subscribers and fans are from the black manosphere. And I'm going to say this. If you're a grown-ass black man with no firearms, I think that's a little something wrong. If you've never been to firearms training, I think that's something a little wrong. How can you protect yourself, your loved ones, your community, your society by following feminist ideology? Even they want men to be able to defend themselves, as illogical as those broads are. Why don't you do like Alderman Smith up there in Chicago and buy a whistle? Why don't we just wear black and white and have everybody look like some Foot Locker employees? This is what I'm just wondering. Somebody please explain to me, how do you vote for people who are boldly against your own interests? What's up with that? How do you do such a thing? How do you go out and say, oh, listen to these jackasses without doing any research and saying, why do we have such violent crime? It doesn't take a rocket scientist or someone who has a PhD in quantum physics to look at the correlation of liberal city, strict gun laws, violent crime. When the citizens don't have a way to defend themselves and the criminals have no fear of retribution, you're going to get major crime. Now, do I believe in the Second Amendment? If you haven't really listened to the last nearly 17 minutes, of course. Do I believe in proper training? Yes. Do I believe in regulated training? Yes. Do I believe that you should have a clean background? No domestic violence, no case of drug use or drunkenness, no case of mental illness? Yes. But if you actually look at the forms for permits to carry, they all fucking say that. You can't even have a dishonorable discharge in the military and buy a firearm. Buy or get your permit to carry. But this is what they want. They want a weak America, weak men, and right now it's kind of biting them. Not even kind of. It's extremely taking a big chunk out of their ass. You don't have enough men bold and brave and strong enough to fucking join this armed services because you wanted them to be feminized. You wanted women to take up all these kick-ass jobs, not realizing for every job you take, that's one job a man's not going to get. And then you broads got to go out there and wonder, why can't I get a man on my level? Because you under fucking cut him. Every time you see a group of single mothers, here comes crime. Like I said, I dare someone to even challenge me on this shit. Every time you see a community full of single mothers, here comes crime. You goddamn right, Mike V. The Supreme Court ruled and said states cannot determine the constitutional right to carry. This benefits black men greatly, as it should. Every black man listening to the sound of my voice and every goddamn subscriber, and even black women, should actually go petition for your right to carry, and not only just in your state, but multiple goddamn states. And if you're in the state of Maryland, holla at your boy. I'm official and I could do the fucking classes and the qualification test. There's no goddamn way you should be out there naked as a jaybird in these violent ass places. You wanted them, and this is what happens when you don't have fathers and father figures in the community. You get anarchy and chaos. You wonder why it's so much crime in the black community? Look at what happened in New York. All them fucking females, her grandmother and her mother, did not chastise that 19-year-old woman for putting her hands on that damn officer, and she got laid the fuck out like she's supposed to. Yeah, and guess what? I'm actually gonna go probably sometime to catch a flight to Utah to teach the class. Stay tuned. But in the state of Maryland and other places, yes, I can instruct you. I'm going for my Pennsylvania carry and instructor license and others. I'm taking over this damn place. Now, let me get back to this safety of the community and Second Amendment talk before I move on to something else. Every time you walk in a goddamn community with nothing but single mothers, you see nothing but chaos and anarchy. No order, nothing but pure destruction. There's nobody guiding them kids. There's no real discipline. And see, I'm going to tell you what, because we're very confused in our community. Discipline without love is abuse. Put that in the chat, please, someone. Discipline without love is abuse. One more time for the Negroes in the back. Discipline without love is abuse. This is the reason why we have so many undisciplined, unruly children, because them beating them half to death is not discipline. They were abused. I probably could still, man. I probably can. I probably can instruct there. I want to see it one more time in the chat. Discipline without love is nothing but abuse. All that beating, cussing, manipulating, that's not love. That's abuse. So we have a really good distinction of what's the difference between discipline and abuse. Now that we got that part out of the way, you have these overbearing mothers who don't put their boys in male dominated spaces but want to beat the hell out of these boys. And like BGS said, there's a reason why your mother didn't want you to go to wrestling, boxing, and martial arts. It's because she was scared that you might use those techniques against her. So she wanted to have the upper hand of bullying you. And notice by the time you're 15, 16, she's trying to throw your ass out anyway because you're too big, too strong, and too fast and too vicious to control. But she literally created a monster 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 years in the making. How about that, folks? Can I get a woo on that? Shout out to Big Kev. Gun control plus single mom worship plus thought culture plus war on drugs plus lack of upward mobility equals excessive violence. Woo! Big facts, man. Douglas Jefferson. Training is critical. Excuse me, crucial. That's why we always push in the National African American Gun Association. I need to get a membership. Emerald Edge 72 to the man doing great things. Whoo! Thank you. And to all of you, we got to invoke some power for a second.
By the power of Grayskull.
Thank you once again. See, we don't like to talk about these things because there's a big correlation of why we have such violence, why we don't believe in being protectors anymore like we used to. And see, being a protector is not about protecting wayward people, because I already told you my strategy about protection. The first rule of protection, please put this in the chat once again. The first rule of protection is obedience. I am not, nor can I, nor will I try to protect people that are disobedient. And neither should you. Boiling Blood said it's like these mothers never heard the phrase, you kick a dog long enough, the dog is going to bite you or die. Yep. Notice, they vote these bastardized, ultra-liberal laws that only benefit women. They won't even use these educational benefits and don them on their children. And they leave their children discombobulated, mentally askewed, morally bankrupt, and then want to complain about why is their child killed on the street by the time he's 22. See, a lot of these chicks out here who are ultra and uber educated always lie and said their baby father wasn't shit. He wasn't shit the day before you even met him. But guess what? You drop drawers for the lowest common denominator. I don't care what your degree's in. I don't care how much money you make a year. I don't care where you work. A lot of you ladies who you had your baby by is who you're going to be judged. You are the reason why the community's in the shit show. Shout out to 2Trib and shout out to Mike V for the support. Woo! On the Cash App tip. Because guess what? Guess what tidbit that we got from that I just found out in my class, right? Because I'm going through the instructor course now for outside the home, personal protection outside the home that I'm going to be teaching soon. Because I am former law enforcement, because I am currently the commander and CEO of a state recognized and licensed private security firm, I'm eligible to not only take the NRA law enforcement classes, but I am also eligible and authorized to go to their instructor courses as well. How you like that, baby? How you like that? Oh, we're going to do some real good things because soon I'm going to be on the instructor board for teaching tactics. This is what happens when you have a community of wayward men. I'm going to tell you this, and this goes out to all the and assalamu and walaikum salam to Philip D. Redding Jr., who one of the sharpest brothers ever. Let me put this out there, right? Women and children are as respected and loved to the same degree as the amount of fear and destruction their men can induce. Somebody need to put that in the chat. Women and children are respected and loved only to the level of degree that the violence, destruction that their men can induce. You never understood why your fucking communities are a shit show. You don't produce someone of valuable substance that can actually make other people respect and love you, even in their absence. Even in their absence. When I was growing up in the 80s as a little boy, you didn't see too much shit happen to black women. You know why? Because they knew there was a brother coming back. If any black man was seen a man outside of the ADOS race disrespected them, it was hell to pay. Hell, it was other brothers checking brothers. Men keep other men in check, not women. That's why when they talk about the independent strength of the women, who the fuck respects that shit? Who the fuck respects that? Your strength is fleeting. And remember, strength is relative. If no one respects your strength, what good is it? If no one fears or have that low-key issue of violence that can be given, what good is it? You didn't want those men. So you raised weaker men that you can easily control. And now it's biting you in the ass. For some odd reason, you look at the correlation of undisciplined men and heightened crime. But you will constantly say, we need gun control. Why? Because you are the proxies to the powers that be. Who needs COINTELPRO when you got that unwavered hoe? Think about it. When they said they want to prevent the rise of a black messiah, you've done it better than the fucking CIA and FBI. How, you may say? Look at your boys' reading scores. Did you know? In my class today, did you know I was sitting in class with a ranger and a special forces officer, and the other guy beside him, a good friend of his who they served together, was also an intelligence and special operations officer. And these were two black men. Did you know earlier this week, I was in class for chief range safety officer with a lovely female. Had to get her number and stay in connection, of course. And she's a federal police officer. Two weeks ago, I was in the rifle instructor class with a white guy who's still in service as a lieutenant colonel and the coach of the Air Force shooting team, and a retired full bird colonel who works for the DEA. Why aren't we producing more warriors? Why aren't we producing more protectors? Why aren't we producing more logic? It's amazing to sit with great men who've accomplished great things, and they're so humble about it. You don't see them with shit around their chest. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. No, they're humble. Some of the most intelligent, but yet dangerous men at some point, and maybe even at this point, who you can actually literally respect. If you want to see strong black men raised properly, start while they're boys. Why don't you put those men in your public schools to be mentors, to be advisors, counselors, teachers, principals? Why don't you start up not just only for JROTC, but Explorers program for the police department and an Explorers program for the fire department? Because you don't want protectors, you just want drones. Think about this. Even the white guys who I'm in class with, one of the instructors is a retired naval officer. The other instructor, even though we're all instructors now, the other lead instructor was a former Army sniper and a SWAT sniper. There's stories that all of us in the class give out back and forth. But yet, we forget very coldly. The warrior class was a very intellectual class. Somebody put that in the chat. The warrior class was a very intellectual class. People only respect and fear power. Perhaps a show of violence and power from black police on thugs will make Keisha and Nook Nook bow down. See, I'm going to give you something else. Like BGS said yesterday, that 19-year-old woman, because I refuse to call her a girl, at 17, I was in the Army. I could kill or die for it before I could smoke or drink in it. That girl, that lady, marched over there with her chest out, shoulders high, like she physically can overpower that officer. And she got what she deserved. He literally punched her ticket to jail. And look at how bastardized the figures in her life are. You should never put your hands on a woman like that. You know what my grandmother would have said? That bitch deserved what the fuck she got. You challenging a man that's the size of a goddamn bear, and he puts you on your ass. It's no different than years ago when it was those black children, and you know they came from a single mother household. This little girl coming up challenging this great big old white guy. And he's trying to protect his family as he should. And give him hell. I'm hold that fucking thought because I'm going to speak on that. And guess what happened to that little 13-year-old girl? That white man knocked her the fuck out. And I have no problem with it. The reason why you had a warrior class, you had the medieval knights of Europe, the Apaches of North America, the Zulus of Zululand, the warriors in Ethiopia and Eritrea, the samurai of feudal Japan, the Gurkhas of Nepal. I would mute, but some of the sounds of a black neighborhood. If y'all don't recognize the sound, you just didn't grow black. See, let me explain this something to you. This is how I know the warriors are an intellectual class, even in the modern day. Before you can go to the military, what must you pass? Before you go to the fire department, what must you pass? Before you can go to the police department, what must you pass? You have to pass a test, an aptitude test. Hell, the ASVAB, what is it? The Armed Services Aptitude and Battery? Shit. And Vocational Battery, something like that. I forget what the acronym stands for. You have to take an academic test to even see if you're worthy to then take the PT test to get in. So you have to have not only intellectual prowess, but also be a kinetic genius when it comes to athletic ability. Even before the PT test, you got to take the civil service and the ASVAB. That's how I could prove my statement just that quick and easily. Now, give them hell. Stated. I noticed she didn't attack those white officers with her bitch ass because she knew that if she had hit that white officer, it'd be hell to pay. Even worse, what that black officer did, and I don't have any problem what he did, because what he did was he probably saved her dumbass life, not just from the police, but some of the men she would date and mate later on in life. Because she seems like the type of chick to put her hands on a man. And there's some men who are not going to be so forgiving. And that's liable to get her dumb ass killed. And that shows you the failure of her goddamn parentage. You trying to condemn the officer. What's the officer supposed to do? His back is turned trying to deal with a suspect and also a crowd around the suspect. And here you come hitting and pushing them. Who the fuck are you? Hey Siri, play Finito by Chief Keef. I love my Frankie Beverly, but guess what? You hit me while I'm conducting an arrest, and we playing Finito by Chief Keef. If you don't know it, when this live stream is over, go listen to it, and you'll know what the fuck I mean. Now, back to the subject matter. When you look at this warrior class, because some of these ignorant motherfuckers will tell you the thugs on the street are the warrior class. No, they're not. They always, throughout history, had a class for the thugs on the street. You know what they were called? They were called fucking bandits. They were the thieves, the bandits, the robbers, the rapists, the criminals. The thug is the complete and utter opposite of the warrior class, the different end of the spectrum. Okay? Is everybody checking with me? Check or hold. If you're following, check. If you're not following, say hold. I'll wait till I get my checks and hold. Check or hold. Which one are we? Check or hold. We checking? 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 This is the reason why the thug or the bandit is the opposite of the warrior class. There's the one thing the warrior class, besides being intellectual, well, there's three things. He's intellectually sound, his martial arts and martial abilities are sound, and he's disciplined. Key word, discipline. Somebody put up my three. Intellectual prowess, martial ability, and disciplined. Right now, in order to get through these academies, basic training, you have to be disciplined. This is what's significantly and fundamentally lacking in the bandit class. Which is true to an extent. Yep, Douglas. Intellectual prowess, martial ability, discipline. Take the Japanese samurai. He had to be trained by some of the best trainers and teachers and philosophers. Of course, they were renowned for their martial ability. And think about it. They had to take up arts like calligraphy, language, poetry, musical arts, artistry. And they had to be disciplined. Look at the warriors in Africa. Look at the Zulus. Look at the warriors of Nubia and Kemet. Look at the Ethiopian and Eritreans, the Axum Empire. Think about it. Who's the richest man that ever existed on the planet? King Mansa Musa of Mali. He had one of the first, if not the first, university on earth. So intellectual prowess is a necessary component to the warrior class. Have you ever noticed how many presidents were part of the warrior class? For the longest time in history, it was a necessary component to become president. Look at England and many other places. Prince Philip, Prince Harry, and Prince William served in Iraq the same year as I did. I'm only a few months older than William. They were pilots. It's mandatory military service. Hell, we could go to the Arab world. Okay? You ready? King Abdullah of Jordan was a special forces operative before taking the throne. It's a necessary component. And you wonder why we don't have power. Because we've robbed our boys of these necessary tools of leadership, education, discipline, brotherhood, marksmanship, warriorship. Shall I go on? But yet, we wonder why there's so much crime. Because the bandit is fueled by rage, fueled by chaotic energy. He's been in an environment where the chaotic nature of women imbues them. Imagine growing up in a household and never taught how to make a decision for yourself and others. You're right, Philip. Hey, Philip, am I lying about that? Think about it. Because a lot of these thugs see the chaotic nature of women, and nobody's putting women and telling them they're wrong, he thinks he could do the same too. But yet, because you're bigger, stronger, faster, you got to be in control of your fucking emotions more. Why? Because you get in a fight in the street, you got enough power in your fist and enough in your kicks. And if you choke or grab somebody, you could potentially kill them. So you have to stay disciplined. But discipline is a curse word in our community. We no longer praise the man who goes to service. We no longer praise the men who go to college. We call them sellouts. We rebuke them. We cast them out. And you wonder why some of the most intellectual people in our community marry women of other races. Because you look down upon them. Because you hated what you seen. You kept black men the same way the slave master kept black men. The body strong, but the mind weak and the soul broken. Give me a woo if you follow that shit. Put that in the chat, please. You kept the body strong, the mind weak, and the soul broken. Woo! Think about that. You break him just to keep him strong enough for him to be used. Just to be used. And this is why mentorship is important in our society. This is the reason why she doesn't want you educated. Because in education, I'm not just talking about scholastic means only. I'm not talking about the collegiate level only. I'm talking about when a man goes out there to travel and learn the world and learn other skills, learn other cultures, he cannot be a slave anymore. He will refuse that. Shout out to the snowman for his support. Woo! You got to remember this, folks. There's a reason why people go out of their way to keep you ignorant. There's a reason why, you know, the people of the world want you to be down on your luck. There's a reason why they want you to be ignorant. Because raw power has no means. Raw power cannot be held back. Okay? It's funny because a lot of things about the Second Amendment you're right, Dari. Misery loves company and a mark. Misery is disturbing on so many levels. Misery is disturbing It's disturbing, folks. It's scary. It is freaking scary. When you actually have to go out and you have to go out there into the world and compete against other men, that is disturbing. What are we doing? Are we making winners? Or are we damning people to hell? For some odd reason, we don't like to name. We don't like to solve our own issues. We don't want to have healthy dialogue of this. This is the reason why it's your job, black men, to mentor other men. I'm not saying you go out there and you become the baby daddy, cleanup crew. Hell no, we don't do that. But any black man, shout out to F Holiday. Whoo, always faithful, man. For the cash absolute. Any man, any young boy and young man that's trying, that's your duty to help him. But at the same time, he must be willing to receive the help. Hold on, folks. I'm back, folks. Now, I'm going to open it up. I accept anybody who want to talk about this subject. Hell, I'll even take a detractor. Hell, where are the detractors? Whatever happened to good detractors, man? Whatever happened to these guys? They don't make good detractors like they used to. Woo, man. Woo, 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 woo. What's up, Snowman?
What's going on, Dr. Faulkner? How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm, I'm enjoying listening to a brother that I call a very, very dear friend
Sure.
do what I do on a daily basis, which is spit truth.
I'm trying, brother.
I know you are. I mean, we've been doing this for 7 years.
Oh yeah.
We've been doing this for 7 years. Let me pose a question that I posed before on your program as well as mine, Snowman Unfiltered.
Go ahead.
How come when black men start YouTube channels having this kind of truthful dialogue, no matter what the area, be it about the military, be it about the black community or lack thereof, how come men can't get the support that they need? I talked about this on Snowman Unfiltered. You were there. You rode shotgun with me. I talked about this, when we first got together.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know why the black community is in shambles? No support for each other when you want to chase your dreams. None.
Nope.
None. Because I know you send people to my channel, and boy, I appreciate you for that. And I know you tell people to support me via Cash App for the Snow Strong Carolina initiative.
Yeah.
F Holiday, they'll pop out of the foxhole when you're finished. Ain't that the truth? They'll pop out of the foxhole when you've made it.
Of course.
What did Will Smith say? If you weren't present in my struggle, don't be present during my success.
Exactly.
Because, and I'm gonna bring up some numbers. I know I'm gonna get the side eye from some people, but I gotta say it. I started Snowman in the Morning 9 years ago. It'll be 9 years on Monday. When I finally brought it to YouTube, I thought, okay, a lot of people watch sports. I'll get the support I need. First time I had the channel, I reached 300 subscribers, and then I plateaued, and I didn't understand why. I've broken that, but I keep posting and telling people all the time, you want to hear some real sports talk besides what you hear on Fox Sports and ESPN and others, hit me up.
Yeah.
And I am so proud of you and how your channel has grown to over 3,000 subscribers. And this is not a point of jealousy or envy or anything like that.
No.
But if you can bring Truth Talk to YouTube and get 3,000 subscribers, I bring Truth Talk to sports as well as my night program, Snowman Unfiltered, and I barely get nothing. It just, and this is not against the people who have contributed to my cause. This is not against them at all. It's against the people who say 1 minute they'll contribute, and I don't have to complete that thought because because y'all know the rest.
I mean, hey, that's why I always say, let's push a lot of people to Snowman's way.
Yeah.
That's why I believe in that continuance of power. When Roger had the divester, I said, hey, let's carry the conversation. I'm doing an after party. Carry it to Mr. Z. Then some people went to your program.
Yes.
We should have that type of bridge to connect each other, to support each other.
Mm-hmm. And it just seems to me that the men are still getting the damn shaft. Let me be more specific. It just seems to me, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, the black men that have put time and effort into trying to build their brand and build their channel, and I hope you got my proposal I sent you via email.
Yeah.
Because I want to get that started too. And I'm going to work on getting it on paper, but I want to get your logo on my program immediately. That's why I sent you the offer that I sent you, so your firm can be one of the title sponsors of the show.
Cool.
That notwithstanding, and like I said, you've known me for 7 years. I've been in the grind and the hell I've been through between LaPorte, Indiana, and Jasper, Indiana, and Michigan City, and then Dayton, Ohio, and now back to Indiana and North Carolina and beyond. And I still can't get any support for some truthful sports talk or truthful talk, period. Period. The folks that join me on Snowman Unfiltered, I love them all. I love the ones who are so consistent, the consistent ones that come to the program I appreciate them, and I appreciate you so very much for always promoting me and supporting me when I put my Cash App or my link in the chat.
Hey, that's what we here for, to support each other.
Yes.
Could I chime in on what the brother said?
Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Be Easy?
Hey, what's up with y'all, man? Thanks. Yeah, and salute to you, man. You always is keeping a balanced platform, and like Snowman was saying, you shout out, you show love, you give quality, substantive content. See, our issue is that we love to be entertained, right?
Yeah.
Addicted to entertainment. So when you're presenting things that are going to educate and enlighten people, they reject it. It's almost like trying to get the kid to eat their vegetables. You need to eat your vegetables. You need to eat your vegetables. You need to be educated. You need to be educated. No, I want to entertain. I want to be entertained. And the
Yeah.
entertainment is equivalent to like donuts and pizza and all this other type of stuff. It's cool in moderation, but you
Mhm.
waking up eating a donut, going to bed with a donut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could you have
Yeah.
something fair and balanced? And people, as much as they complain about it, they don't want truth talk. They don't want the truth talk in sports. People will be saying, Skip Bayless this, Skip Bayless that, and then they'll repeat everything that he said. I'm like, how do you keep knowing what he said? Because you tune into him every day. Meanwhile, there's someone.
Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith. Dear God, don't get me started with him. Colin Coward, Nick
Mm,
Wright.
Yeah,
They pay
yeah,
attention to
right.
all of them.
Max Kellerman,
Max Kellerman. They pay attention to all of them, and yet I'm
even Charles
thinking
Barkley.
when
Like,
Charles.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Max Kellerman spoke some ill shit about black boxers, black MMA
Yes,
fighters,
he did.
and he still got a fucking fire. He's still making millions. This
he has his own boxing show.
Yes,
what
He
which
the
is
went
fuck?
which is
he
why he went
bounced
to ESPN.
around. He,
Which
he bounced
is why.
around and was on First Take, which was their supreme channel, and
Ye-
then they gave him a cushy job. They were doing massive layoffs at ESPN. Not Max Kellerman. Is he really that
They,
talented,
they
or is
gave
he
him a
being buffed
2 hour.
up?
They gave him a 2 hour afternoon show that sucked ass. Hell,
Mm.
to be perfect. Hell, to be
I'm
perfect.
sorry, Keith Olbermann, who I'm not a fan of, was better than Max Kellerman, and that shows you how
Listen,
much talent he really has.
Keith
Even the
Olbermann,
guy that went to
man,
Fox News, Will something,
Kane,
he was better than Max Kellerman.
Will the Thrill Kane. I mean, first of all, y'all know how I feel about ESPN. They're full of shit.
Mhm.
The main network's full of shit. And I had someone ask me, how can you say that when you call games for ESPN Plus? That's different. That's a college deal. They don't get into sports talk. ESPN Plus is strictly play by play. That's what I do well. That is strictly different. That I can get behind. That I can support.
And you know what's funny? You want a real man's and red pill perspective on sports, and how I love the fact that you're not like everybody else ingesting penis when it comes to LeBron James.
When you've been spoiled by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving for 25 years, I I tell these bronze sexuals all the time, I've seen greatness, and he ain't it.
Yeah, and I tell him, I said, here's the crazy part. Why is it that the black man's physical talents are worth billions? What about the black man's thought, his intellectual prowess?
That's put on the back burner. I'll answer that question. That's put on the back burner. That is put on the that is unfairly, I should say, put on the back burner.
Yeah, because you got racist theories like the bell curve, which people, it's funny because people have all these massive issues with CRT, which is a theory from the 60s, but they're outraged about it now. But they have no issue about the bell curve, a debunked theory that
Sure don't.
says that the black brain is inferior. Remember, they used to say black men couldn't be quarterbacks because they just didn't have the mental
The
aptitude.
mental
That's kind of the
aptitude.
same thing with black coaches, and it permeates in all of these other avenues where it's like the silent bias that no one wants to speak about,
Hmm.
but everyone knows about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you've tuned in my show, and I know Charles is tuned in. He wrote shotgun in the chat quite a few times. Cole and I break all of that down.
Oh
we
yeah.
break we break every bit of that down. You think you think these so-called sports fans of the 21st century give 2/5 of a half of a damn? No. They're I can tell you the most viewers I get is on Wednesday, and that's because Cole and I do bronze sexual confessions. He does a part, I do a part. But
And it's
lately, I've been getting people that have enjoyed the intellect part, have enjoyed the intellect that we bring to the show. I've been getting a lot of that lately. It just pisses me off that it hasn't translated into me making my original goal when I got out of the hospital was to get to 1,000 subscribers by Labor Day, and Labor Day is Monday, and I'm well short of that. I'm
Yeah,
well,
and see this
I'm well short of that.
honestly, this is what kind of pisses me off too. Let me speak on behalf of you and others like that too. Because people been
Go
like
with it.
clamoring for me to even make more content. I go on panels and more reputable channels, and
Yes.
I'm slowly doing it, but like I don't really make money from YouTube. I'm not monetized. You know what I mean? I don't have any subs like that, so
Right.
this is not my focus. I just do it. But there's people that are really dedicating time and effort and giving you quality content, what people say that they want. And then you
Mhm.
won't even support these people. I've seen people go over to divesting channels, drop super chats to kind of like shit on them, like, here, like, black men are not broke, and drop like
No shit.
$100 or $300 to prove to a divester that you're not broke. But you won't spend $100 with someone that you actually claim you support. That type of shit is so weird to me. It's
It
quite
is.
pathetic too.
it's
It
frightening.
is.
It's frightening because I'm like Batman in these channels. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll go to different people's and I'll just look, and you'll see a lot of these people. Oh my god!
Oops.
Uh, you'll see a lot of people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some odd reason, they will drop money to a female who doesn't even know they're alive
Or cares.
or cares. Now, the one female in this space I don't mind was Kendra, the Crimson Curve, because she's been here. She's
Mm-hmm.
always she's always been supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how can these Johnny come latelys come out the woodwork?
And just blow up.
Blow the fuck I mean, all kinds of nuclear thoroughbaric bombs.
Man.
Let's put it this way, Charles.
It's kind of funny. I'm sitting in the truck and I see my son run. I guess he's trying to get ready. I guess he's trying to get ready for wrestling this year. Anyway, go ahead. How you doing?
How y'all doing, folks?
Hey.
Easy. Brian, how you been?
I'm good, man.
It's good.
I'm doing fabulous. I had some football time with my family. My son was here.
Mm.
My daughter, who does not like sports, asked me what a sack was. So I'm feeling pretty damn proud.
And please explain. And please explain for those who don't know what a sack is.
Well, my
Wait. Yeah, you mean Jody was looking at you saying, Mister, will you please explain to our daughter what a sack is?
well, she didn't have to because she had a smile on her face when Sonya asked me. So I explained to her what a sack was is when the quarterback, no matter what the level, is attempting to pass and he gets hit behind the line of scrimmage, that's lost yardage and that's a sack. You know, and Sonya just looked at me and went, "Oh, okay, cool. Now I know what that is."
And you know what's funny? I want you real quick before we go back to Namer. Snowman, read what Dar put.
But that just speaks to the need for black female validation.
Yep.
And that's the reason. If I really wanted to make money, and I'm gonna tell you what I could do. I could be on some real pimp shit. I could be on some real pimp shit. I could have a pretty female who cams up, and I can feed her all my words in the ear to speak about. And I promise you, I would make $5,000 to go.
Yeah.
Charles, let me put it this way, to use a military term. It's like a sniper. They're all these Johnny-come-latelys, the only reason they're now getting the views they're getting instead of us has a lot to do with timing, because when we do it, it wasn't cool. It wasn't trendy. Now that it's starting to become trendy, a lot of these people are coming out of the woodworks and they know how to galvanize those folks who are starting to pay attention and whatnot.
Yeah.
So they come opportunistically. We've been doing collectively, we've been doing the heavy work, the heavy lifting. And then these giants lately just come in and fool everybody and think like they've been down with this since day one when they haven't. And that's why when people start listening, they listen to these folks because these folks know how to get the trends and attentions. As for the female validation, like you said, man, that's e-thought 101. Because we've been seeing this e-thoughtery been evolving one way or another, because you've been seeing this on YouTube and Facebook back in the, like as far back as like 2014, 2015. And then they transitioned to Twitch. In fact, they're still doing it in Twitch. And then they switched to OnlyFans recently. This is the first chapter of how this shit goes.
You know what? I'm a F Holiday. You have been nothing but good and faithful to a lot, not just my channel. Somebody got some background.
Oh, that's me. Excuse me.
You know, you have been good to not only my channel but other black content creators. So I'm not talking about you, the faithful.
Mine included, F Holiday, and I appreciate you so much.
We got to give you your flowers. Whoa! All the time.
Yes. Yes.
And thank you for being a supporter. We're talking about motherfuckers that we see who look at our content, will go over to some person's content, even detractors.
Yes.
That's their comment and will put dough into the fucking pocket.
And not just dough, lots of it.
And it's like you're getting Snowman. A lot of people don't realize you're getting an old school play-by-play analyst. None of the fucking woke bullshit.
No.
None of the fucking, we got to prop this person up. No, we're going to talk about, especially Snowman, we're going to talk about the shit that ESPN, Fox Sports, and whatever other sports channel you want is not going to talk about. That's what he's going to talk about. Then later that night, he's going to go unfiltered with a lot of the, not just black men's rights, but men's rights, period.
Men's rights, period. Yeah.
Emphasis on black men, but all men included. Shout out to Dar. Sharing some overtime. Gotta go in. Whoo, peace, brothers.
Peace, Dar, and thank you.
And to add on to it,
hold on. We got Namer, then Be Easy's next.
All right, Be Easy. My bad. But first of all, I don't mean to be like a beggars be choosers kind of thing, but sometimes it kind of bothers me when I see dudes giving like certain 99 instead of a full round number. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand every little bit counts, and some people be pinching pennies and shit, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, just to piggyback what Be Easy said earlier about, and it being entertaining instead of being educational. As a millennial or AIDS baby, I'm grateful that there was a lot of educational stuff I was exposed to. There were educational shows I used to watch even as I got older.
Yeah.
And that helped me open my mind a lot more. I mean, just like, in fact, by the way, just to bring the funny, right now, I realize I'm 40. I just turned 40. My boy said, "Thanks God, congratulations, you entered Bernie Mac status." Right now, I wish I had Bernie Mac here to slap the shit out of me because I'm having milk and cookies way past my bedtime. So,
see,
I just want him. He was here just looking at me saying, "What the fuck you doing?" And me looking at him like he's short, and we throw down. But yeah,
it's that kind of stuff. It's a mixture of what I bring, and it's most in the morning. It's mostly sports. Y'all know that, but
well, you except for Cole, Cole.
Oh, I know he's been my friend 5 years. I know how it works, and I'm glad I brought him I brought him aboard. But Be Easy was next, and I cut him off. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I just wanted to add on and say that I've heard myself, others make certain particular talking points, you know what I mean, that apply to black men specifically, men in general. And I'll, like you said, the Johnny come lately in form of the female version, they'll literally say the same talking point and get $100 super chat, cash app. Yeah, preach, go girl. I'm like, what? I just said the same thing, advocating for men, and you're giving more validation to to like some chameleon chick that just suddenly start making content. Is so weird because the same dudes who will say, and that's why I don't even like the whole red pill, blue pill type of stuff, because these dudes who anointed you, right? Like I'm from the street, so it's like nobody could just walk on the hood and say, "Hey, I'm a gangbanger now." Like, bro, who jumped you in? Like, who gave you? Like, we need to check the record to see. Oh, okay, he's certified. He actually is a gang member. People will be beta buffoons their whole life, hop on YouTube and say, "I'm red pill," and then people say, "Yeah, he's a red pill creator." Like, what? This dude's been a loser his whole life, and now he's red pilled. Like, what are we talking about?
Exactly. It's funny. One thing I respect about the military and even gang culture to an extent, they do not like false flagging, aka stolen valor. Stolen valor. And it's crazy because they do take some of the aspects of the warrior code, but not the better ones. But it's crazy part about it is that and the crazy part about it is that not only do you have Johnny come lately for the ladies, you have Johnny come lately for the purple pillars. Where the fuck is Look, well, we got to come back to the table. See, we're not coming back to the table. It's either we're going to deal with the ladies who are always down for the cause, or we ain't dealing with them at all, and we'll go elsewhere.
Fuck the table.
I don't
chop that some bitch in half.
I may not.
They need to be bringing an offering to the table. Like, what? Come on now. What are we talking about?
It's like this. I may not date interracially, but I'm not knocking a brother who does. Like Snowman's in an interracial marriage. He's married his wife because of who she is, not what she is. And it's crazy because notice the way he talks about his wife, he rarely speaks on her race. Rarely, if hardly ever. But that divester that was on Roger's channel, oh, I got me a white man. No, you just
every 30 damn seconds.
Like we didn't forget. And then you're right, Detroit 313. That's you know what? I got to give you the salute for that one. Shit.
Yes.
Woo! They won't. I'm gonna
Love
tell you
that.
two things. I'm gonna go in before I give the mic up.
Mm-hmm.
Two fucking things that really burns me the fuck up, and it gets pointed out day in and day out. And I'm gonna officially say it for motherfuckers who don't know. It's sad that divestors and Fresh and Fit get all this attention and money, and others don't.
Yep.
You look at the production value the Angry Man puts into this fucking shit. You look at the production value that the Angry Man puts out day in and day out. You look at what you're getting from a Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, a Dr. Ronald Neal, a Green Gorilla, a BGS when it comes to intellectual studies.
The fact that none of them have 100K subs is egregious in itself, and that's a dereliction on men because they speak specifically for black men, but the gems they drop is invaluable for all men. But see, this it's weird because it's like what. I call it the Daniel-san syndrome. People want to say, "Hey, I want to learn how to be a master karate specialist." Meanwhile, they overlooking Mr. Miyagi and say, "Hey, I'll just learn it from Daniel-san." Like, bro, who you think taught Daniel-san? You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it is with Fresh and Fit. They took all of these courses, read a bunch of books. They were admitted nerds, bro. They admitted it. Don't take my word for it. They were just nerds and lames. They got enough money. Now all of a sudden they're Mr. Miyagi to give out this game and shit, and people just taking it hook, line, and sinker. I'm like, no, it's the Daniel-san syndrome. Everybody thinks they Mr. Miyagi. I'm like, bro, what have you even done to, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like these people haven't even been anointed. They've been anointed by incels.
Yeah, and I'll complete your word. Be easy, imbeciles.
Yeah.
I'll complete that word, imbeciles.
I want you to think about this, right? Fresh and Fit only gives you surface level red pillisms.
Yep.
BGS gives you the blue, the red, the black. Very few people actually break down what black pill is.
He gives you history, historical facts, empirical data. Like, come on now.
Look at Angry Man. Angry Man, some shows Angry Man had put on, most of them anyway. I remember when he broke down years ago the lies that are told about the difference between men and women. That shit should be taught in college.
Yeah.
You're telling me, right? Yeah. Guys like this don't have 100K?
Look at it this way, Charles. Excuse me, Charles. Sorry to interrupt, but let me look at it this way because Be Easy said it earlier. Folks don't want to be educated. They want to be entertained. They want something that's eye-catching because consider the attention span of most people. They want a small, digestible morsels. I mean, Be Easy. You still there, fam?
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. All right, brother. Look at it this way. When we talk about all these females getting thoughts, look at it this way. Think of it like this. Remember Fox News? You ever wonder why they have female anchors? Why they have female anchors, and the anchors are usually wearing skirts?
Eye candy.
And most of them are blonde.
Eye candy.
Because it's eye candy. That's the eyes.
None of them are the size of Lizzo.
Yep.
They're like white guy standard sex attractive. And most of them are at least.
And you got to look a certain way. No, think about it. None of them have beards. Even Will Kane, he had a beard. He's on Fox News now. Now he's all shaved. Tucker Carlson, no beard. Sean Hannity, just go down the list.
And also, Carlson had to get rid of the bow tie. He went to normal neckties.
Yeah.
So, they have to present themselves away. Fresh and Fit, that's how they do it. But they do it mostly in an entertaining way. That's why most of the guys are in it. Now, a lot of and they're targeting the people when they're young and impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
They're targeting folks that are young, impressionable, not the ones like us, because the older generation, the guys who are like our peers and whatnot, they see the bullshit for what it is. We know, yeah, but we see it right through their bullshit, and we can call them out for it. That's why they don't want to interact with certain. They don't. That's why they take. That's why the people on their show are people who's on their ilk who have a similar bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they have guys. That's why they only bring select people, because those folks, they know they can big up one another, but they're all about the same bottom line overall. Because and who they're targeting, like you said, it's supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be entertaining, and then they bring in the logic. And a lot of people are so entertained, they're like, "Yo, let's give these guys some whatever," you know. Thank you, KP. I mean, I've seen this, man. I mean, I've seen. I mean, no, Brian. As the non-ADOS person in here, I've seen shit like this before. I grew up in an authoritarian state. I know what propaganda looks like, and this is a similar formula that they're using. How they galvanize people. I was always looked at, even though I was born abroad and I came home, my brethren sometimes would look at me and just say, "Oh, you're just too soft," because I was born abroad, but when I came home, I was 12, and I had a different mindset because I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Thankfully for me, it had gluten. And I have celiac disease, but I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, and people thought because I was an empath, I was weak, but they didn't understand what was wrong. That maybe I just understood things differently. And where I come from, conformity is the order of the day. You stand out, you're like a nail that needs to get hammered back in, or they're going to take you out and discard you. But like I said, it's about the entertainment. These people swoop in at the opportune time, and they'll co-opt it. And then they present it like they were here since day one. Just like how many? I mean, look at all the dating coaches, a lot of them were pickup artists before.
Yeah.
What made them change their model? It was Me Too. When Me Too hashtag everything, that's when they started switching up, saying that they were red pill the whole time and that they're dating coaches. And next thing you know, those guys get a new, and next thing you know, they start attracting some of those young, impressionable minds who were starting to get into the red pill and shit.
There was a comment a moment ago. Fresh and fit, cater and brainwash mostly non-ADOS white male audience.
That's correct.
Yes,
mostly non.
There was,
and the thing about them is they're non-ADOS as well. They're non-ADOS. I mean,
correct.
What's his name?
They talk shit. Yeah, they talk shit about it.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, what's his name? Myron is Sudanese, and I'm like, motherfucker. And I did, if I came face to face with him and he tried that shit, he's not gonna play that shit with me, because I'm from neighboring Eritrea. We know what they're like. They know what we're like. And in fact, when we tried that shit with Abba, that's why when they had that shit with Abba and Preach, they target mostly Preach because Abba, being Ethiopian, he's on code. And he knows Myron. He could call out Myron from being off code, and expose him, even expose him by calling him by his real name.
See, the crazy part about it is that when they went after Preach reminds me a lot like me. I used to go to the boxing gym and MMA gym and jiu-jitsu gym and wrestling gym for fun. How me and my best friend settle an issue that can't be talked out or yelled out? We'll grab gloves.
Easy.
We'll grab shin guards.
Headgear.
He said he would have boxed both of them.
Yeah, and then you look at how. See, first and foremost, and we're about to get Jesse in, ladies and gentlemen. We got Jesse Beal III.
What's up, Jesse?
We got to say this real quick and then give Jesse the floor. See, a lot of these people out here take this red pill, and people try to shame guys like Angry Man on his content. Why are you asking for donations, nigga? If he puts out good content that's worthy of support, and you're getting information, entertainment, knowledge, comfort, enjoyment, you're being yes. Anybody who puts their intellectual property on display and you're enjoying it, yes, they should be actually paid for it, compensated. But go ahead, Jesse.
What's going on, fellas? So I'm I'm play a little bit of devil's advocate here, right? For the past, almost 10 years, I've been in marketing for almost 20 years, but I've run a digital marketing agency for almost 10 years, right? Thing about YouTube is this. Each social media is unique, and you really have to kind of study the game to really grow your audience. The thing about these women, right? The reason that they're going to grow faster is two primary reasons. Number one, YouTube is pretty much controlled by white feminists. So the women are always going to get the leeway in terms of controversial material. Like they literally have a video. I don't even know how this shit came on my feed, but they had a video of a white chick doing an instruction on how to eat ass, right? And this type of shit that's allowed to be on YouTube. There's videos on YouTube of like, pornographic images, like women's private parts and all this type of stuff. Let a guy put that shit up and his shit will be banned immediately. But in terms of YouTube, me researching it this week or so, I'm really understanding that YouTube is a platform that changes constantly. The algorithm changes, and so you got to be up to date with this type of stuff, and you really got to research YouTube to understand how to make it benefit. Now, what I would say is this. Don't take my word for it. Holler at me in a year and see how my channel does. But, even Fresh and Fit, I don't really watch them. And the reason I don't watch them is because, for one, them niggas be talking shit about those people. And so I kind of fell back at that point. But number two, when you talk about the stuff that they're the information that they're giving, you have to realize, and some people have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. The information that they're putting out there is like basic surface level information. And the reason I say I don't have a problem with it, because I can see how that information could be valuable to 14-year-old, 18-year-old, early guys in their early 20s that don't really know stuff. Because a lot of stuff that guys like us, Charles and BGS, a lot of the shit that we put out there is not no basic level stuff. It's advanced level stuff. You know what I mean? So in that sense, I understand how they're able to do well. Now the other thing I would say about them is certain people, and I'm debating whether I want to invest time in doing this. Certain people are students of the game. Fresh and Fits, they're students of the game. Kevin Samuels, he was a student of the game. And what I mean by student of the game, these are the type of guys, they research about YouTube. These are the type of guys, they look at other streamers or YouTube content creators, and they take bits and pieces from that from those creators and they implement it to their own shows. Kevin Samuels will tell you this, when he was alive, okay, I took a little bit from him, a little bit from there. That's why if you look at Kevin Samuels, MTR has a great video on Kevin Samuels, KS. And he has a great video showing Kevin Samuels' first video on YouTube and his I think it was his last video on YouTube or one of his later videos. And what you could see is the progression. You could see a total difference in his personality, his stage presence, his his delivery, his comedy, the way he was able to articulate himself. over those years, he studied, he became a student of the game, he grew. And I think that's what we all need to do as content creators to become better. Not only that, but also to be able to better market our channel. You know, we also need to understand the collaboration game as well is very powerful. So I'm gonna come right back in a few minutes. Hold on, hold on, guys. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah, that is so true. I've had to become a student of the game when it came to YouTube. And I'm still a student of the game. I'm always going to be a student of the game. But the toughest thing that I've had to deal with when I dove headfirst into this was my fight with cancer. So I decided, fuck it, I'm going to put it out there. Have I gotten support for it? Yes, I have. Do I need more? Yep. But you got some haters out there, and Charles, you can confirm this, and Neymar, you can confirm it also. There are haters out there that will say to me, and I have one actually write to me, "Oh, you don't have cancer. Show me a doctor's note." I ain't got to show you a goddamn thing.
That's a setup right there.
It is a setup.
That's a doxing set. No, that's a doxing setup.
Yeah, that certainly is, and I didn't take it. I let my silence talk to him on that, and he's gonna keep trying, and I know he is, but I don't care anymore. I am disabled. I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna get paid by the government because according to them, I didn't put enough time in. I didn't put enough taxes in. You know, for them to pay me, and yet I see people younger than me going through about as much hell and working less, and they're getting their full benefits. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take this defeat. I'm going to take this setback, and I'm going to turn it into a victory. I'm going to turn this into $2 billion a year. Because it's Ray Hammond just said, they're too funny and fickle acting on who they watch and support. I just say F it all and do my stream. Same here. Because I already know this is going to happen. And what had to happen is after I got that setback, I had to believe in myself and my product, which means making it better, which means having more fun in doing this, which means putting in even more work than I put in now. Because while I'm strengthening up and getting better and getting ready to get back in the booth and do play by play, I'm pretty much tied to my desk and my office most of the day. And I really don't care anymore because I know what I'm capable of, what I love to do, and the support that I have from, first of all, you guys to get it done. That's why every time Charles is live, I make a plea to him and his followers and a plea to everyone, you know, to help support my initiative, to get my family back home. We got a life waiting for us. And I'm in Indiana right now. But my wife said it to me, and I'm going to say it to everyone here. We got a life waiting for us, and it ain't here. And that's why I got the initiative going. And that's why every time I'm here with Charles or with whomever is on that knows me and that gave me a wrench, BGS included, you know, they encourage me. It's like, man, put your information up. We'll help get it out for you. They all do. And I appreciate it.
And so, yeah, like I was saying, man, you know, we could all become students of the game, man. You know, I'm critiquing myself as far as my presentation and, you know, how I speak, making sure that, you know, I'm constantly getting better, you know. Yes. And like I say, KS is a great example because he was terrible when he first got on YouTube. We be honest. If you really look at his first couple, you know, his first year at YouTube, it was terrible, man. Even he said that. You know, he was harder on himself than you know, other people were. But if you look at him in the last 3 years, I would say that he was a damn master at this shit. I would say that there is nobody that could be a one-man show streamer the way that Kevin Samuels was, because he literally, I mean, this dude had multiple camera angles. You know, his presentation was on point. He did all that shit himself. You know, he had hiccups every now and then, but I mean, that's a lot of work to be setting up 2, 3, 4 cameras, and you know, I've been doing interviews with people. Some stuff I'm gonna probably release for later this year, and I'm like, damn, it's hard as hell to stay still on camera for that goddamn long, 2-3 hours. Goddamn back start hurting and all this type of stuff. You know, you start getting a little fidgety, all type of stuff, man. So you know, shout out to him. But so one thing I noticed that, you know, KS did, and that FNF do, and some other people do, that's very popular, and this is something I'll probably implement later on, but is, in my opinion, more entertaining to have people on camera, and people, in particular women, right? And this is something I noticed even before YouTube, man. I used to do tests back on MySpace and when Facebook first came out, and I would start business accounts with like the logo of my business and do it that way. And I would also start business accounts, be the same business, but instead of putting a logo, I will put a picture of a fine ass woman. And I noticed the difference in men that will follow the page, you know, with one or the other. And if you look at, you know, a lot of those streams, you know, they have beautiful women on camera. That's something that attracts, you know, men in general, but especially young men. You know, there's a private group that I'm in. One of the famous YouTubers. I don't know if Charles allows to mention other YouTubers on here. Charles, you want to let me know, is that a yay or nay?
Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, Melanie King. It was this old ass black dude. Cash out for like 50. I can't remember. It had to been at least 50 or $100. You know, like when we going out to dinner. So they're using men's sexuality against them, and you know, they're getting the power of the simp, you know. And I look, we're all men, man. Let's be honest, bro. A lot of times we'll be prone. A lot of times, us as men, even red pill men, we'll be more prone to look at an attractive woman than probably other things. If we just see it coming by on our screen or whatever, that don't mean that, you know, we'll necessarily subscribe, but it'll catch our attention if it's a really attractive woman. And so, you know, that's just one of the things that I notice certain content creators do. And even if they're not attractive, one of the things I liked about KS Stream was that I could see the women that he was talking to, because you had a lot of these women that was getting there on there and talking shit. And it's like, okay, you talking shit about this woman, you calling yourself a 7 or 8 or what, whoop-de-woo. But I just found it more entertaining when you can actually see the chick, because, man, I'll tell you, some of the funniest streams I've ever seen in KS, man, is when they had an ugly ass woman that was like a good solid 3 or 4 talking about she was a 7. I mean, some of those streams, man, I just erupted in laughter. Like you ever laugh so hard you about to damn near pass out because you lose your breath, man.
You can hardly breathe. Your gut hurts and everything.
So it's,
I haven't had a good laugh like that in years.
It's certain stuff like that, man. And you know, like I said, I don't really rock with FNF like that. I don't really support them, but I see the game. I see the game that they doing, man. And one thing we as black men, you got to do. One thing it took me years to learn how to do this is, we got to learn how to play the game, man. Some people may agree with that. Some people may disagree. You know, when I was young, I was always, I was Dave Chappelle. When keeping it real goes wrong.
Indeed. I mean, Jesse, look at it this way. But the thing is about playing the game is, what are the fucking rules? Because some people, they're like, think about
it. There are no rules.
I'm just saying stuff like this. I'm just saying stuff like this. Like, one thing I noticed that one thing people don't notice that helped KS get to where he got to, and this also helped FNF as well, is that they did big collaborations. So this is I realized this in the music industry,
which they paid for too. So you got to put your money where your mouth is.
Absolutely, yeah. You look, if you're a small YouTuber, you got to pay for if you're a small YouTuber, you got to pay for collaborations with much bigger YouTubers. Like you can't have 300 followers and trying to get somebody with 500,000 for free. You know what I'm saying?
And they gonna do it just for the
my
sake
time
of
is precious.
You may get lucky. You may get lucky, but that that ain't gonna happen in most cases. But I'm saying just stuff like that, man. Because I've been subscribed to KS since he first came into the Manosphere, since he first came on the Coliseum. So I seen when he had that Ron Wills collaboration and that subscriber base shoot up, or when he had that Stephens Cole and that subscriber base shot up, stuff like that, just like in the music industry, man. That's how you grow. That's another way to grow your audience, because you're being you're being
exposed to a new set of fans. Let me just build on what you were saying, Jesse, because I totally agree, because I'm actually am in the music industry. I produce my own music. I manage artists and stuff. Bro, they so typically I'll rent out a venue, right? And I'll just throw my own parties. I pay the venue. Some venues you're able to get like half the bar, some they keep the full bar, and I just charge admission at the door. How do I get all the people to come? I have a whole bunch of TNA scattered ass everywhere. I pay one chick. All I gotta do is pay one chick. She bring like 5 of her friends, you know what I mean? And then the other ones, they just want to come off the strength. I do my own visuals. So a lot of chicks is like, every chick want to be an Instagram model. So they want to come just to get the pictures. I have another chick, you feel me, that caters to stuff, so it's food and all this stuff, and after that the dudes will pay. I let chicks in free. I let like 20 chicks in free, and after that I'm just throwing the exact numbers out, you know what I mean, but the numbers could vary. The dudes only come because of the chicks, and it's the same thing, like you said, when you cam up. When I put a music video out, right, and it's just me, the song could slap. But then once I add a chick twerking, then the views go up. I was like, I said some more real shit in the other song, but then they was like, that other video was dope. Actually, people do it all the time, right? You'll ask them about a video, and the first thing they'll say, they won't comment on the lyrics. They'll say, "Ooh, that chick was bad in the video. That bitch is thick. Damn, that nigga had a Hellcat." I'm like, what about the lyrics? They talk about the objects in the
cars
video
as well, the
cars,
the
everything.
Settings, it's got to be
everything.
I'm gonna say this real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna just because he just said it. Be easy. I'm gonna say this though. If you're an ugly motherfucker, don't cam up, man. Stick to radio. Stick to radio podcast. That what's funny?
This is not the time to be throwing your light skin privilege, man.
Could I see it? I seen that in the movie, man. And that's real shit though.
No, I cam up, so I ain't worried about that issue.
Motherfuckers used to go hard in Hollywood back in the day. I was watching a documentary about I think I Love Lucy, and it told one chick, like the producer told one chick, it's like, nah, this chick, she don't have a face for movies and TV. She more of a radio face.
She got a face for radio and probably a voice for Prince, right?
Oh man,
yeah, that's the politest way to say you ugly.
You sure? Keep it real. You don't want to see it. I be seeing some ugly people, man, doing video. I be like, damn.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's funny because cats.
By the way,
that's where the hypocrisy is. Cats will complain about certain things, but just like you said, they don't want to see some hideous chick on there. They're gonna be like, won't they get someone fine? Then they get some fine stuff on there. Then they talking about pretty privilege. Yeah, that's what you want to see.
That's what you asked for.
Yep.
That's what you.
Why do you think Cole likes to fuck with us with a certain picture every once in a while on Snowman Show?
Lord.
No,
I'm sorry, but it's relevant to the conversation, Snowman.
It is.
I don't have the picture. What are you looking at me for?
Listen, when people
Maybe I
putting
don't
up,
have the picture. Relax.
I will put it this way.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, I will put it this way for y'all. For those of y'all that have not seen the picture, don't tempt Cole to put it up because he's going to try to surprise us anyway during the week.
Yeah.
I can just see AB's reaction. It'll be like Ryan McCarthy when he puts that picture up. He'll just go dead and he's gone.
And like I say, man, don't believe what I'm saying. If I don't grow my YouTube a year from now, then everything I just said was bullshit. If I grow my shit, then I'm gonna come ask Charles, can I clip when I was talking this shit? Like I try to tell you niggas, but that's cause I'm a marketer by trade pretty much.
Yeah,
I got you, Jesse. I think I subbed your channel.
Being a YouTuber is not easy. I just uploaded a video myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go. I had to get on these church folk.
AB, I'm checking. AB, I'm going to check that video as soon as I get off of here, which I'm going to do now. And Dr. Faulkner, if I may.
Go ahead.
Because I always ask. I know this is Charles's channel, and I know he's given me permission to promote what I'm doing, but I always ask for permission on other channels. If y'all could be so kind as to support the Snow Strong Carolina initiative via Cash App, it would be very, very much appreciated. And as I said earlier in this chat and on this discussion, there's a life waiting for us. It's just not here in Indiana, and we got to get the materials we need to really get back to being us. So we can really, really, really live. And there's a radio network I'm going to create with the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, that's waiting for me as well. And my potential boss is just afraid of, my health turning bad. But I told him, look, you leave that to me. All I need you to do, and all I need y'all to do is just pray for me and be with me. And just be with me. Because I think I finally solved the puzzle with my stomach. Okay. And some of the meds that I take and some of the meds I don't take. Okay. But I think I finally solved the puzzle where I can start commuting from here to Greensboro for basketball season and get as many games in as I can.
All right.
But we're gonna get it together. And to Ratter in Washington, I don't know if you've subscribed to my channel or not, but I'm gonna put it in the chat as well as my Cash App. So any help y'all can give to the Snow Strong Carolina initiative, it would be very much appreciated. And salute to Edward Anderson, who just popped on here. Let me step out of the way.
Edward.
Salute.
Yeah. I just wanted to get something in before anybody says anything, just to piggyback on a couple of things that Be Easy mentioned, and also what Jesse mentioned. First of all, you're right about women controlling YouTube, white feminists controlling YouTube and whatnot. I've always saying conspiracy theories, just white women in general, white execs. But let's not forget a couple of things here. Female sexuality is celebrated. Male sexuality is demonized, which just comes with the territory of how men are being viewed. How we're seen as predators and evil and this. A woman can express herself, but a man can't. And to piggyback on Be Easy. Be Easy. If you remember, Wyclef Jean had a song called "Low Income" back in the day.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
Okay, in the song, he's like, what he says is like the rap. There was in the first verse of that song. It was from the Eclectic album. He says, "At 17, I left the house because my father was a minister and I worked at Marvin Rouse. What's going on today to sell a song? You need a video with soft porn. MCs in the industry. You want a tip? Don't let them pimp you like Goldie. And tell Sony they better have my money because I play with the Commodores and be like Ronald Richie. Low income. I stay so hungry that if 50 Cent came to rob me, he'd be part of my charity." But that bit where I said, like he said, today you need a video to sell a song. You need a video with soft porn. Hell, I mean, I remember the metal group Korn.
Mm-hmm.
They had a song called Twisted Transistence where they had all the rappers pretending to be them. And at the end of the video, you see the members of Korn dressed in suits acting like record execs. And it's no, this video is not going to sell because we need a lot of booty, a lot of this, that, and the third. And Snoop dressed as monkeys like, this ain't about booty, it's about transistence. Because they were, mocking the whole thing about black people can't do metal. And only in hip hop do you see only in hip hop and R&B do you see a lot of ass shaking and whatnot. In fact, there was a song in country I heard. It's called Honky Tonk Badunkadunk. This came out in 2015, 2016. So that lets you know where the whole culture is going. Since black culture is the canary in the coal mine of American culture.
Yeah. Let me step on out of here. And I want to say thank you to you all so much. And I love you guys. AB, I'm about to check out your video and I'm going to get back to work here in my office and planning for what's going to be a huge week. And just so y'all know, beginning Monday, I thought I was going to put it off to next Monday, but hell with it. I'm diving in. Beginning Monday, the programming time for Snowman in the Morning is going to double because I got a lot of interviews in the can that I'm going to air during the course of the show. So it's going to be live. It's going to be some pre-record so I can be sure to get my rest. But we're about to get it done. We are about to get it done. And like I said, I love you guys and I will talk to y'all soon. And thank you, Dr. Faulkner, for the time. I appreciate it.
All right, Snowman, stay safe.
Thank you.
My best to the family.
Thank you.
One question though, before you leave.
Yes.
How's Cheyenne doing, by the way?
She is in great spirits. She's in great spirit. We're just waiting for some results right now.
All right. Stay strong, everybody.
We're just waiting for some results right now.
Okay.
All right. I love you guys. I'm out.
Love y'all.
Peace out.
Bye. Edwin Anderson, come on down. You're the next contestant to Panthros Debauchery.
Yeah. I had never got a chance to go back on it, but okay.
Yeah, I'm doing something real quick, so I'll be more available in a second. But yeah, did y'all talk about, what have y'all been talking about?
We've been talking about a lot of things. We were going back and forth about a bunch of things. We're talking about go ahead, AB.
I just did a video on how church folk I mentioned this yesterday. Church folk are mad at Beyonce because she came out with this song called Church Girl, and it puts out there are a bunch of hoes in the church. And coming from somebody that's in the church, I'm accurate. What's the problem? That what she said about some chicks do operate like that in the church. What's the big deal?
My only problem with that song is that it sounds to be marketed towards like young girls in a sense, and I think that it's encouraging young girls to do certain hoish type stuff. You know, I understand. Yeah, there definitely hoes in the church, definitely. Old hoes.
Yeah.
Providing hoes, but I don't really like the idea of them pushing that to the younger.
I hear you, Jesse, but here's part of the problem with church for calling it out. There were hoes like that in the church long before Beyonce was born.
They just wasn't glorifying it publicly, though.
Yeah.
Just like the pastors been smashing these chicks before they've been getting outed on social media.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those Catholic priests been having a fun.
I said in my video, some of the women too. Oops, did I say that out loud?
I remember Eddie Griffin broke it down like this. Since you brought up the Catholic Church, he said it doesn't make any sense because first of all, white churches fuck your sons, black churches fuck your wife. So if you go to church every Sunday and your wife is in the front row, nigga.
I understand. I understand the angle you're going at with it, AB. But I get what Jesse's saying too. Yeah. Jesse's spot. I mean, because Beyonce's team, it's really her team. They're a sales organization. When they craft a song, there's a lot that goes.
They're what?
They are a sales organization. When they craft a song, there is a lot that goes behind it. It's not like normal stuff. Like it's a sales and marketing organization. So what he's talking about is definitely valid. It definitely is. So, yeah, I mean, so I understand the criticism, but what I would say going to AV's point is the problem is that they want the money because they always play this thing with the youth, you know, where we need to get the youth because the youth is the future. The youth is the future, so they basically would do anything. They don't stand on principles when it comes to church principles, but at the same time, they want the benefits of the money that comes along with it. But then when they kind of they lessen that dividing line between, you know, worldly shit, secular shit, and religious shit, then what do? Then they bitch and cry, and the reality, like. So that's kind of my thing with it. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, man.
So so that's hold on. All right. So that's my thing with it. So the church is full of shit, you know. I mean, straight up. I agree with that angle, AB. As far as marketing to young girls, I mean, I get Jesse, you got Megan Thee Stallion. They got Megan Thee Stallion on She-Hulk, and you got a lawyer basically twerking. They don't give a fuck.
Actually, Jesse, I do hear what you're saying, but one of the points I made in the video is like, y'all waited 20 years to do this shit. There are plenty of songs we could single ladies. There's plenty of songs we.
It's an attention element.
Well,
that's been marketed that destroyed the black community. But yeah, but
they don't give a fuck. They're talking about. Keep in mind, you got to hold them to the church, not the community. The church is a certain aspect of it, so it can't be. Well, the question is, what has been marketed to in the way the church girls has? That's the thing. But because they're not, the church is one aspect of the black community. That's the argument somebody would make with that.
Fair point.
But I don't think Jesse's wrong about that.
I mean, it's over. I mean, anybody thinking, like, if anything, I've been saying this for years. The only way you're gonna have a viable community is if you like take maybe 15%, 20%, and then let everything else just be what it's gonna be. This idea that you're gonna have like 40 million black folks, or you know, they're operating as a community. No, that's not gonna work. And anybody that's what it is you have a lot of people that they've come to this dance late, or this conversation late. And then what they want to do is they want to say, just hold on and wait. And it's like, nah, ain't nobody doing, even the motherfuckers in their 20s aren't doing that. And that shaming shit is not going to help. That shaming shit.
The pro-blacks are starting to come out like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, man. Beyonce was wild for that, but it is what it is.
Did you speak on that prom pic with all them young bulls that had quote unquote divested?
I mean,
that viral pic that went around.
What pic? What's he talking about?
No, I was asking, did Ed speak on it, or did any of you gentlemen know about that picture that's been going around?
Everybody has been speaking on it. I will say this, look, man, I'm not trying to critique you. I'm really not. But like, I mean, come on, man. You say them young bulls, like they're fetishizing black men, you know, like. That's something that them hoes would say. They only want you because it's you know. But other than that, yes, I've seen it. But
so it's work. So hold on. You said you're not trying to critique, and then you gave a critique. So it's like,
no, so I'm not trying to critique it. What I'm saying is,
but you proceeded to critique. So let's go there.
Dude, really map this. You said young bulls. So is a black man more than just his dick?
Bro, why? I don't know why you even equated bull with dick, my nigga. Like, bro, I don't know what type of vernacular y'all use out there.
Really?
But Come on,
Black,
cuz.
you don't know what a black bull is?
Wait.
Is that what you're saying? That when it comes to a black
I know
man,
what a black bull, but is
then
that
you
the
said
only
young.
connotation you could use it? Is that the only connotation?
Yes, in the connotation of you talking about a black man and a young black male and a prom. It's not a reach.
Hold on a second. I'm a little confused here.
Let everybody else vote. Shit, fuck me. Am I? Do y'all niggas think I'm reaching?
No, you're not. Eddie, sorry, Edward, no, you're not reaching. But let me put it this way. Be Easy was saying in a different context, but unfortunately, a lot of us may not have gotten it. Got lost in translation. That's all. But
it definitely wasn't in no sexual breaking context.
So what other? Well, I'm not saying. Well, that's not all.
Ed, let it go. Ed. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
It's over, bro.
Don't tell me stop. My point is that's how everybody else sees us. And when and that's why they believe. Here's why this is important. That's why they believe.
Say nigga. Everybody else sees us as nigga.
That's why they believe it's appropriate to tell LeBron James, son, who the fuck he can date. Like they can really regulate. That's the thing you're not getting. So you low key buy into that. Just like when they see, look at these bulls. These are niggas that I can control.
Hold on, who said I don't get it? Now you just assuming shit about what I do and don't get.
Well, I mean,
because of a word that you took out of context.
I'm assuming that because. So what's the context? Were you saying? Go ahead, correct me on the context.
Bro, I asked you a question and you derailing to like word police.
Well, you said I misunderstood the context. So give me the context it's supposed to be about. If it's that easy.
I used it in a terminology like we say that type of shit out here. We don't say young boy, you know what I mean? They say all types of shit. I mean, I don't need to break down the Cali slang for you. Whatever context you thought it wasn't in that, debaucherous type of shit that you was thinking about.
Okay,
so like it could be left it there. Like the question really wasn't supposed to be focused on that, but if you want to just narrow in on that, you know what I mean?
Well, we're all in different parts of the country. I mean, shit. Does any of y'all have another context of it, or is it just me being stupid?
No, I don't think you're being stupid. I'm
talking about Naima, Albert's in the Midwest, Jesse's in the South. What other? Because I've only known that to have one context. It's kind of like just to take it off of you, just like how one New York dude and tried to check me talking about. I said, fuck Cardi B for calling so I burnt bitch. Oh man, that's what we say in New York, in the Bronx. I said, okay, give me a context where that shit will work. Because I ain't never heard you niggas say that. And then he started skating. And then he said, fuck me, fuck you nigga, you soft that. It became all of that. So I'm just saying. Right. But anyway, the point is, because it's the same, my bad. We just been dealing with this bullshit, with this traveling shit so hard with niggas telling motherfuckers what the fuck we can do. But anyway, as far as these brothers, I mean, they've been doing that. That's not nothing new. Like, it's not. It's just now it's starting to not be hidden anymore. It's starting to be more bold. I mean, look at your NBA players. How many NBA players or NFL players are starting to be mixed now? I mean, that takes time for that to come up. Now it's starting to be so blindingly obvious. Even black denial cannot deny it anymore. That's the issue. So honestly, here's the thing too. I don't give a fuck about a lot of these things are presented in a way sometimes to trigger black women. I'm beyond that shit. And I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just taking it as like how it's overall presented. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I got out of all of the Kevin Samuels groups because when they present something, it's not in the form, it's pretty much, they just pretty much become gender warring factories at this point. Like you got black women posting shit just for the point of having attention. And then you got black men doing the same shit. Like it's not even designed. You know how Obsidian does shit to foster a discussion, but it could be provocative. You could kind of take it or leave it, kind of like how Be Easy promoted it, and I took it. I could either take it or leave it, but I decided to say what I said, even if it does not meant to be provocative. And I'll give you that you didn't intend to do that. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I don't be with that gender war shit. To me,
Okay.
that's the most beta buffoon shit anyways. You know what I mean? So I was just presenting it really to get
and I
your
acknowledge
perspective
that,
on it.
and no, absolutely, and I acknowledge that, and then I decided to take it and make it like not so much make it bigger, but kind of expand upon it. That would be fine. But the problem is, you have dudes that they do it for that purpose, and I mean, this is not new. I was in like 8 Kevin Samuels groups, and I swear to God, every last one, it's constant. And even when I would try to go into it, trying to expand the conversation, it's just some high school shit, and you got grown ass motherfucker. And I'm told the women do it too. Because my thing with the bitches is, why the fuck are you in these groups? What is your purpose of being in these groups? To pretty much tell black men you niggas ain't all that like you think you are. So it's like, okay, you gotta go into it. Clearly they must be, if you're in a fucking group just to tell them that. That's stupid. And then you got the dudes, it's like they get off on triggering women. And my thing is, these bitches are done. They've been done. And so it's like, what is the point of the back and forth? And that's what I see with it. But as far as that post, all that goes is to tell motherfuckers this is what it is. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. Just to expand on it real quick. Not the route I was first going. Because I want to show you how fucking stupid these motherfuckers are. I'm not talking about the dudes. I'm talking about some of the goofy shit I have seen. Give me one second. So basically what I'm gonna show you is some Twitter posts while I'm pulling this up of black women.
Wait, hold on a second. Hey, Jesse, can you mute up for a minute? We can hear you typing on your keypad, fam. Can you mute up? Thank you.
This nigga got a riot.
Carry on, Edward.
Just to kind of take it in the direction Beasley was trying to take it. Shit, nobody can pull this up, can they? Does anybody have the ability to pull this shit up? Or is Charles around? Or
Yeah. Just put it in the no, because Charles still have to approve it. So
okay, so let me do this. So basically, what this is some posts on Twitter. These are some screenshots, and which on the left, it's kind of like a post similar to the kids.
What post you trying to bring up?
Not the kids, but the
what post you trying to bring up?
I'm about to pull it now. Let me appreciate it, Charles.
Not kids, one by the way.
But the high schoolers, or seniors, niggas here.
There's one pic I think I can think of that kind of explains what you're talking about. It was like one individual. I'm thinking he's like some kind of celebrity or maybe an athlete.
Hello.
And in that picture, it was like a Christmas family. It was like a Christmas family.
Yeah, that
photo,
was a long time.
Worse, being tired of the mind or the body.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I saw that. That happened a long time ago. Yeah, where they were getting fucking triggered over that bullshit. All right, so here we go.
Saw like okay.
Yeah, Charles. Yeah, so this picture that he's about to pull up, this is a funny shit. So literally, it's these two things are not the same thing. And then there's another post. You see it on the lower left. Twitter is not a real place out to do. There's a difference, but y'all not ready for that combo. Gonna write an essay about how it is 100% not equal to compare a black woman dating a white man to a black man dating a white woman. And as y'all can see in the picture, if you zoom, these are like football players. And then this. And to the extent that I'll have entertained this conversation, it'll be like, yeah, of course it's not the same thing. Y'all know y'all can't fucking get what y'all fucking want out of those situations. That's really what it is. And so it's like, are you ready for that conversation? And the thing is, I've been saying these are not going to have the same conversation as they're not going to have the same conversation as like the millennials. And let's be fair to the dudes when it comes to the dudes that do this shit just to trigger black women. black women come to be triggered. They look for this shit because to them, it allows them to feel like they are being oppressed and justify how they act. So at the end of the day, you know, black women don't want to, but at the same time, these chicks are talking about soft girl era. That's what we're hearing. Soft girl era. I mean, it's like talking to, the reason why I kind of get so annoyed about some of this stuff sometimes is because it's like going into a Arkham Asylum and having conversations with folks. I'm talking about the women because they live in their own world, and then it's like dudes trying to get in the mind of somebody that's literally, they're undiagnosed. That's how far gone a lot of these motherfuckers are right now.
Ed's not wrong about that. That's one of the reasons why I don't fool with Cynthia G, because I started to peep that she gets wet off of niggas going at her. She feeds off that shit. I was like, oh, I see what you're operating on. That's why I don't even fool with her. You know, I might look over there every now and then, but I don't go out of my way to try to call her out nothing, because she's gonna do what she's gonna do.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. It's like bad attention is better than no attention. And so the next step, that's why images like that is so triggering for black women, because it's a symbol of black women actually, black men actually moving on. And that is something that's like hell on earth. So that's my opinion on that. That's why the passport thing is such a big deal. I don't know who Lionel was talking to, babbling, wasting time. These niggas love to get their opinion, but at least you paying though. Keep on paying, man. How about this? Drop $150 and I'll get off the panel if you're talking about me. We're gonna do a bounty. Can you do it? 150. Let's see if y'all can do that.
It's clearly a big difference when you look at that picture that he just posted up. Because first of all, one group had access to women of all races sexually. The other would have been demonized for it. And it's not just in the US we're talking about this. You saw this type of dynamic throughout the Americas, in Africa itself, for that matter, even even in the Middle East during their history with slavery.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going to change that. So the question becomes, what you going to do about it? Because the reality is, the reason you see more white women dating black men now is because their white privilege card is they're taking less hits on their white privilege credit report than they used to. So you're seeing it more, you know.
Wait.
And white men is not that, the average white man is not that far ahead of the average black man. So, you know, it's not that beneficial to them.
And quite frankly, they're more used to it than they've been, you know, so it's getting more acceptable. So I get what you're saying, Namer, but at the end of the day, in the practicality of it, it doesn't matter, because it then comes down to what are you going to do about it? Like, black women only have power if black men want to please them. If black men move on, they have no power. So them feeling some type of way about some shit is irrelevant. It's the same thing with white dudes. This ain't Jim Crow, you know. It ain't. And because these white, back then, them white chicks could get killed for sleeping with black men. You never know. So I mean, we're far from. I mean, white women been going to other countries fucking black dudes. So I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day, it's not like, oh, this is the next big thing we got to solve, because at the end of the day, it's solving itself anyway. They can say what they want to say. You know,
they're just trivializing it. They're just trivializing and try to make a big stink out of something that's a non-issue from the get-go. Which only
matters if we give. I'm not saying you shouldn't talk about it, but I'm just saying is when you have this like Kevin Samuels argument, or when these arguments are had, you know, in the greater argument, in the macro argument, like it gets like, for example, take FD Signifier's bitch ass. Yeah, there's certain people that, in my opinion, should kind of, you know, address him. I chose not to. But you almost blow people up by constantly every little person.
Exactly.
Same thing with I'm cool with Jessica X, but a lot of people are not. It gets to the point where you throwing all that energy actually blows something up bigger than it, and then actually it's not stopping it from happening. This is what I've said with Passport Bros. Everybody, like, take Peso Man. Peso Man ain't nobody. He can't do nothing. He over there his damn self running, as far as I'm concerned, running away from charges. But it'll give you an image like they can actually do something to stop you, which they can't. And the way you deal with that is just by doing it more, to the point where you make it very clear all you're doing is letting more people know about what we're doing, regardless of what that is, whether you're SYSBM or whatever.
The problem with them is this. They thought they could shame you back into order.
Yeah.
And it does not work, you know. It just, you know, it's like Lex Luthor said about Superman in the book Kingdom Come. If you haven't read it, read it. It's a classic. Kryptonite just doesn't have the same sting that it used to. And like Superman, because you've been in the sun for so long, and that sun is actually red and very powerful, you know, you just built up an immunity to black women's shame. It does not have the sting it used to have anymore. It's like what they said in the Bible about death. Oh, death, where is thy victory? Oh, death, where is thy sting? Oh, grave, where is thy victory? It just doesn't affect you anymore.
No, and it took generations to happen. Like the Z, you know, you're talking about from the boomers to Gen X to millennials to Z's. This isn't something that just happened, and this is not a ship that can, you know, I look at a lot of like shipwrecks or how shit happened. You know, these things didn't happen in a vacuum. They didn't happen. You can't turn a ship. It took a second to turn it. It's going to take a second to turn it back if you do, and that's focused effort. That's not gonna happen. People think you can do an I Dream of Genie, twinkling your nose or whatever you do back and forth, and then everything's gonna be
bewitched.
Bewitched, yeah, and make that. It's not. It doesn't. Yeah, white privilege credit report. That's what it is. Because that's what these white women be thinking about. You know, that's why they'll fuck a black. Back then, they'll still fuck a black man on the low, but they won't be seen with one. Now they'll be seen with them and still expect their full white privileges. That's their issue with their men. And it's getting to the point where you're starting to see more Asians peel off than you otherwise used to. Now, it's still not a lot, but it's not a lot of black men either.
I mean, you gotta think of it, right? Black men, all they have to do is show up. Notice we don't have to change a goddamn thing. Notice, like I said the other day about the divestors. They all talk with that nasally white girl voice. They're poor. You can't even... See, they're so bad at being women, they can't even fake other women's femininity. It just looks so, it just sounds, smells, and looks so fake. Now, when you have a truly feminine woman like a Shonda, like a Toya, you can see that's genuinely them. But that chick, she's just a nutcase. Oh, I got this white guy, and I bet you the white guy is like a bottom shelf brat, barely making it. Don't have to look like he's a supermodel. None of the expectations she would put on a black man, she would put on that white guy because he has white skin. So, when it comes to a lot of this bullshit of dating and mating, it's natural. It's fucking natural. They're mad because they never had to compete before. This is some very bold and shocking shit to them. And
that's a good way of describing it.
It's like basically, you know, like you remember the intro to Star Trek? You know, the final frontier. We boldly go where no woman has gone before. Femininity. That's how black women are looking. It's a bold and shocking revelation that you ain't shit compared to other women.
It's gonna get so much worse, man. I don't even want to imagine how bad it's gonna get.
I mean, look at it this way. You're seeing this with certain African women that matter. I mean, I've seen not that they're any different, but a lot of them do emulate ADOS women in certain ways, like the weave and everything. But there are those who've been able, a lot of them, they value white men for a different reason. They're into white men, but it's for a different reason. Because white men equate to uplifting a family's prestige and status. Same thing with Asians, and so much so that they have their own. These other places have these own fixations about mixed race children.
It's the same way here, bro. There's
Yeah,
no.
but not like that.
Nah, it's no different.
Yeah, but and they learn it from white people. And they learn it from white people. I mean, there was a Vice. There was a clip I watched about from Vice.
I'm gonna tell you
about the difference between.
I'm gonna tell you the reason why. Most Africans never had to grow up in a white-dominated society. Those people always grew up in a white-dominated society. That's why we are easily to call white people on their shit. That's why you notice most Africans will come. What are you talking about racism? That good white man over there. You know.
I've learned. That's why I'm grateful for like we learned about colonialism and such, because the educational system I came from, they taught us about colonialism and the dangers of it. Not to mention, they had to, because my grandparents were my grandparents' generation. They were the last generation born during colonialism, but the great grandparents were too old to tell us the stories of what it was like, especially where I grew up.
Let me tell you the difference.
Please tell me.
My son is growing up in a white-dominated society. Like when your grandfather tells you stories of him and his
Charles, you forgot Charles, you forgot I lived in a white-dominated society, somewhat quasi, but mostly Arab society as well.
Well, Arab is a little bit different from white. A lot different.
But racism is racism.
This way. When your grandparents tell you stories of how their 12 brothers and sisters had to grab guns and rifles to shoot the Klan off the farm. And that's the one thing you got to realize is that we already know. That's why we give a lot of Africans the side eye when we speak to them, because we're like, either you're that ignorant and don't know, or you're that disingenuous because you do know. And come to find out, historically, a lot of them.
It's the latter. Because especially the boomers. Because
a lot of them, if you check the records and also the dossiers, who do you think gave away those slaves? It was an economy for a lot of those fucking countries.
Agreed.
Look at the homie. Modern day Benin. Look at them. They're trying to glorify that fucked up ass country, but the reason why your ass was sold in slavery heavily is because of that fucking nation right there. But yet they're gonna.
I'll give you another example. Look at Gambia. And Senegal, because Senegal was a major port for slave trade and whatnot. Do you remember the movie Amistad? And they talk about that shit.
Yep.
The Mende tribe. In fact, the person that in real life, the man who was portrayed by John Hansus, Joseph Sinke, he came back to find his family was taken. And he ended up getting involved in slavery himself, because that was the only market they could get involved in. The only honest living they could get involved in.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think about it. They'll give you all these slave movies. Give us free. But why the fuck can't they remake Shaka Zulu?
What about if they did one about the Battle of Adwa or the Battle of Dogali?
They won't even talk about the President Revolution. They will, if they had the ability to fucking Charles Xavier, Professor X mind wipe you, they would. They'll talk about Hannibal only in this aspect, because he might have whooped their ass consistently, but his ultimate goal would be failed. And they'll talk about that more than they'll talk about King Shaka. They won't even mention Mansa Musa.
Yeah.
They won't.
Hell, I remember watching a documentary. There was this movie they had by the BBC about Hannibal. And you know the person they had portraying him? You might remember him from Deep Space Nine. His name is Alexander Siddiq. He is biracial. He's half Sudanese, half English. And you know who his ancestor was?
Who?
Muhammad something. He was known as Al-Mahdiya. He led the Mahdi movement in Sudan in the 19th century against the British rule. He's a direct descendant. One of his uncles is head of a political party called the Mahdiya Party in Sudan.
Think about that. I showed
Sufi Muslims.
Yep. I showed a clip from Shaka Zulu. And one thing about how he was speaking to a lot of them white boys, and he checked the hell out of them because you know they're ethnocentristic as fuck, man. Ethnocentristic. Well, he's like, wait a minute, who's this? That's Jesus. Who is he? That's our God. Well, he's a king. Shaka's a king. He's a god. Shaka's a god. Well, he owns the land and the skies. Shaka owns the land and the skies. I like this Jesus. Tell him to come down. Tell him to come down so we can talk king to king and god to god. Hey, what's up, Tan? And KP, what's up? What y'all doing?
What's up, Charles? I just jumped in real quick. I think a point that we kind of miss sometimes is this. Like y'all was saying, the competition piece, right? If all the brothers on the panel remember when you went to gym class, most of the sisters didn't dress out. They didn't participate in gym. They didn't work out at all.
Nope.
So it's become a habit to not work out. So that part of that competition and physical stuff is something that they do, and it's tradition. So when you see sisters that do work out, it's very rare. It's almost like a unicorn.
Like most of the chicks I've dated, it was kind of almost secretly, subconsciously in my mind, for me to date you, you have to work out. You have to work out. Like Shorty just did 66, almost 70 miles on a bike yesterday. Oh, girl. Like,
yeah.
You have to make it. You have to make an effort for them real quick. Shout out to Black Uru Strikes. Woo!
Can we have the elder up here?
The dame and
Can we have the elder up here?
If he wants to come up, he's free to come up. The dame and the thumbnail gives me serious wood.
That's my mom's generation. Come on, man. Those are my aunties. I'm sorry, my aunts. Why am I saying auntie? I'm not gonna act uppity.
He's talking about my thumbnail, and he's like, when I see a woman holding a gun or a sword, it's like I hear a song playing in my heart. Woo! That's how I feel too. Shout out to the
Charles. I just realized something. I just forgot to mention. On Netflix, there's a Nollywood movie about the house of Queen Amina. Now think about that. That movie came out about a few years ago, and now this woman queen thing with Viola Davis trying to be the homie warrior and shit. Imagine what would happen if Hollywood were to do a movie about a woman named Queen Nzinga of Angola. Warrior queen from there.
See, here's the historical thing they don't talk about. That the homie warriors took heavy casualties.
Oh, yeah.
They were not that successful. Okay? They were not that successful. And they were used as cannon fodder for the king to escape. So they're going to embellish the fuck out of this movie. And they're going to forcefully put an interracial relationship or sexual scene on your face. You know, one thing
black women.
One thing Hollywood will never give you in a long shot is a black man and a black woman together, because these sisters really sold that. Black man not good enough for you. Well, I was good enough to get your black ass out of slavery. Ungrateful whore. But anyway, oh man, KP, Tan, you got the floor.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the major things though that I see, Charles, is the workout thing. And by them not doing it at an early age, it kind of gives them that thought process that they don't have to. And this is another thing though, Charles, that we don't really talk about is primarily when the girls outgrow the boys at such a young age, their bodies is already developed. So they have an advantage. So the boys is looking at them like, man, damn, she looks good. But the boys ain't thinking 10 years from now if she don't work out ever. You know what I'm saying? So the boys is not even thinking that way. So primarily the other women that's involved in volleyball, basketball, and other sports, they've been working out. They've been running cross country. They've been doing all those things. And instead of the sisters joining those things and playing in those sports, they just shun them and get a bunch of weave and lashes and shit.
Yeah. I've always told women, beware the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to do it properly. We got to do it. It's the elder. Black Uvu strikes. Speaking of Black Uvu striking.
Thanks for having me up, Charles. You know, look, I appreciate the presenting Black women in this to the extent to which we can discuss the purpose of Black women for Black people and for Black men. But make no mistake, for the purposes of Black people, the most important purpose any Black female will ever have is being the portal for more potential Black men, and in particular, Black male killers into this world. It's not important that a Black female is a killer. What's important is a Black female bringing more Black men into this world to be killers.
Continue, good sir. Continue. But I just look at it like this. It's like for some odd reason, we don't like to actually put in a good perspective of like what we are that's valuable as men. Valuable to what we are to anybody else. I mean, I was just listening to BGS's video when I was driving to my training, and it was the 92 who was being interviewed by a guy. And this is the fate.
Charles, you there?
You listen to lonely women.
I'll be right back.
You listen to people who are not capable of getting relationships again. Because it's like that lady was saying, well, I don't get about why we're not a lawyer. So the men she wanted, she didn't even realize they didn't want her because she's so strong and independent. She's disagreeable. They're like, well, men should like this. No. You don't understand what men like. This is why, them ladies were out of shape. This is why those ladies are becoming unmarried. One is your lack of physical fitness. Two is your attitude. Three is because you don't like me. Why should I stay around a person that says they constantly don't like or need me or I'm not shit? Who benefits from that? What man benefits from that? And yet, we're supposed to be the dumbasses who stick around. We should be the dumbasses who stick around. And I'm like, look, the old modern tropes don't work the same. The old modern tropes don't sting as much anymore. You can't shame them. You barely can bargain with us anymore. You literally maxed yourself out one time. And I mean, fundamentally, it's not, it's barely off of black men's doing. The only thing, all we had to do was not pay them attention. That's all we had to do. Not pay them attention and see how the walls crack down. See how they need us. They need us to pay attention. They need us to literally raise them up. All we got to do is show up to a room. They're the ones who's claiming. They're the ones claiming that they're not protected. What do we get in return for our protection? What do we get?
What do you want in turn for your protection?
and you know what's funny? A lot of brothers don't want to ask that question, answer that question. And that's the weakness of it.
Yeah. I mean, not only do they not want to ask it, but they're embarrassed about the notion of asking it.
Would they even
And
know how to answer that question, sir?
No other group of men on this planet are embarrassed about the notion of reciprocation of protection with females. But we've been bred to be discomforted by even the notion of expecting to ask and expect reciprocation.
I don't think they want to cooperate anyway, man. I had a conversation with somebody downtown, and I had brought up the scenario that my girl's in, and she walked around the corner and jumped in the conversation with me and this guy that I used to hang out with in Dallas, and she was a bank teller, and I said, would you be in the shoes of what my fiance is right now? Her answer as a bank teller and wanting to be an inspirational, wanting to be an author, she told me literally in my face and in my fiance's face, oh, he has too much power. Too much power. And the other thing was, what about me? Right? What about me? What about what I want to do? So family and being a wife and living a better life wasn't in her equation if she had to get along with a black man. And me and my girl just started laughing, man. It was like, you can't make this shit up.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what's crazy about that, right?
So it wasn't a what if. This actually is happening with me and my fiance. It wasn't a what if. It wasn't some dreamy fairy tale land what me and my wife are doing right now and building legacy, family legacy. Her answer was, he got too much power. I said, wow.
They're talking that you have too much power.
Yeah. Because my fiance got on my program.
See, this lady, was she in a relationship?
No.
See, this is what you need to tell. My wife's winning. Where's your husband? How much power does he have?
Not even that. I don't even have to ask that, because from growing up and being on earth for 31 years, and I'm still young. Shout out to the OGs out here, the older men, mature. If it's a white man, it's no doubt I'm on the program. Without a doubt, I'm gonna follow him. And I've been, and I wanted to say this earlier. I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised that it took Black men to understand that you was never loved, man. Like you weren't treated how you should have been treated. And now I know a lot of Black people are in the South, and like I said, I went from Seattle at 12. I went from Atlanta at 12 to Seattle, so I seen other culture of men getting treated respectfully, being respected, not having back talk and anger and all this sassiness. And I call it Black girl antics, with the head movement, with the nods and the smacking the teeth. And I told myself, even at a high school age, like, man, I'm not putting up with that. Like, I want what Hector got. You know what I mean? I want what Jimmy Neween got, because whenever you get honey, you get bees. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to argue and fight and fuss all my life. And that's when I made my choice to get someone feminine. So, but I'm not surprised.
Congratulations, Tam.
Go ahead. The reason why I'm not surprised, because it took the internet for us brothers to talk to other men and other brothers of like, hey, this is what you should be getting.
Yeah.
When you come home, you shouldn't be crying in the driveway and not wanting to come back in the house and whatnot. But you should be getting this, because as a Black man, you already got 2 strikes. And I'm not the victim Olympics guy, but I'm just saying, well, it is what it is. When they look at you, they, you know what I mean? They, you ain't really favored in a lot of ways.
I'm gonna say something to that. It's funny how a woman could say you got too much power, but she's got nobody. Who's your power? You're the man. You should be powerful.
Mm-hmm.
What's shameful about having power? You crave.
And what other world or environment where women have the cause of motivation to reference to the power of men?
There are none. Like last time I checked, when you read the Bible, who's the first great king they speak of? Nimrod. You know why he was in charge? You know why he was the king? For this simple rule. Can you beat my ass? No, I rule. Hypocrisy. Might makes right. You gotta realize this. Women say all this shit because of their indoctrination, but the first rule of attraction, women have always been attracted to men in power. But she was basically saying the only person you shouldn't be powerful towards is the woman. No, that's the first motherfucker you have to show power to. Because you got to be able, as the captain of the ship, to determine reward and punishment. But go ahead, Black.
Hold on, officer. Let me give you another example.
Well, if you don't have power in your household, you don't have power anywhere. So, and the fact that you got to negotiate or debate whether or not you have power in your household, I mean, that pretty much says it all. If you got to debate and negotiate and question and obfuscate whether or not you have power in your own household, brother, you don't have power in the world.
Yeah.
You don't.
I don't think they
so,
were.
I mean, I think we a lot of times we complicate this issue. If you're in an environment or in a sociological system where you have to debate whether or not you have power in your own household, then you don't need to be in that household. Because you're not going to be able to compete in this world if you got to debate whether or not you have power in your household.
So you see why they always go majority to the Pookie and the Ray Rays?
Well, you know what? the whole Pookie and the Ray Ray paradigm, uh, it's not that I don't have any, that I don't understand that, but and believe that's a relevant issue. But I'm saying, let's put Pookie and Ray Ray aside for a moment. Do you have power in your household with a woman?
Hold on. If you're asking me, yeah, I do. I do. But the question, but what I'm saying is,
I'm saying broadly, regardless of Pookie, Ray Ray, Chad, all these other archetypes that we reference to. And I'm not saying that they're not relevant to the broader discussion in this environment. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have veto power, in your own home, what are we talking about?
we're not talking about nothing.
So, I mean, all these other people, the white man, Pookie, Ray Ray, all, in my view, all that shit is of secondary or tertiary importance at best. If you don't have veto power in your own home, what the hell are we talking about?
Exactamundo. Because right then and there, we have a failure of understanding what true power is. And I'm pretty sure, Tan, just like Black Guru, when you go into your household, you're not a tyrant, but you're in charge.
I'll give you this, man. I'll give you the story.
I've been married for 31 years.
Damn.
A lot of what my wife wants, we get. I would say the majority of the things that my wife wants, she gets. I view myself to be mostly and by benevolent, I mean that for the most part, I don't have much of a problem with what my wife wants. But I am a benevolent king. Mm-hmm. But the emphasis is on the noun king, not benevolent. And what that means is that there will be a few things where I will have veto power on. Because most shit I don't give a fuck about. Most shit I don't care. I mean, most of this shit I don't even care about. Or most shit I've been fortunate enough to marry a woman in which I mostly agree with her. But a few things I do have veto power over. And she accepts and embraces that we've reached this situation in which he's vetoing this shit. And that's fine. I'm a benevolent monarch. But I am a monarch. I'm a benevolent king. But I am a king. And the balance is you will get a lot of shit. The balance is, from her perspective, is she will get a lot of shit that she wants, but there's gonna be some shit where I say that ain't gonna happen, and she accepts that it's not gonna happen.
So you do know you got to get to the marriage part, right? So all I'm sure we're agreeing. What I'm saying is, to get to that marriage, even just you meeting them and going out on dates, they're not giving you power. I mean, not giving you power. They're not giving you that respect.
Well, why are you dealing with her beyond that point?
Well, I don't, but I'm just saying what a lot of black men and why a lot of guys have gone overseas are just not finding out what femininity is and what they should accept. And I don't think I'm ugly. I know I'm not ugly. Even my ass still gets.
Are you a productive man?
Hell yeah, you already know that, man. I own my own truck.
Do you earn a substantial and competitive living?
Yes.
Brother, it don't matter how you look or whatever. Look, if the majority of females you encounter do not understand and appreciate and respect that, then they're not worthy of consideration beyond that point. I mean, unless you got like a hunchback and like you're disgusting, which I'm assuming you're not, right?
Right.
I'm assuming that. So this notion where you gotta deliberate on whether and how good looking you are when you're a productive man and will presumably will be continued to be able to productive man over your most vital years, that's the only thing that matters as
The reason
a
why
man.
the reason why I threw looks in Black Hero, because if you like it or not, our women look at looks first. How much swag he
Well,
got.
but
I'm not
you
saying I
say
care.
our women. You can't it's a mistake for you to base how you're going to live your life and conduct your affairs based on the frivolity of females. And this whole quote,
Black
our women.
Misinterpretation. I think you're missing it, man. I'm already about to get married next February, so you're not talking at me. I'm just saying, for the people who have problems, like Austin, whatever, he's out of Dallas. I live in Dallas, Fort Worth. He's not an ugly guy, as you can say, tall. He still have the issues like I would have had it, like I had issues in my younger 20s.
Is he a productive man?
Yes, he's a barber.
Let me put it to you.
If he's a productive man, he's able to earn a good living. And like I say, unless he is like some sort of ghastly, deformed human being, male, my presumption is that he will be able to be a productive man who will be able to earn a living and be able to take care of a family and be able to be a contributor to a society and a community. That's all he needs to be able to do. And if whatever fucking female don't appreciate and respect that, then that's her. That's not him.
I'm gonna just say this real quick.
Yeah,
any female, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Any female that thinks of looks first, I mean, yes, attraction is something that's human. She's a dumbass. She's a loser. A lot of these bitches will fuck bum ass niggas. See, these females, our problem is we need to stop fucking believing what a female says. Check her dossier. Check her whole facts. You telling me she's been around these uber handsome men? Really? There are less uber handsome men. There are less male 10s. A male 10 is more rare than a female 10. Most of these females have never been with handsome guys. Most of these females know where they rank. They just trying to make sure you stupid enough to believe what they say. That's all. That's all. What he needs to do
Candy Grandpa Mango.
Where he needs to go is be appreciated. Hold on, I'm gonna pause. Somebody take the mic.
I got it. Oh, just for old time's sake, I just gotta say,
Candy Grandpa Mango. Candy Grandpa Mango. Please sign here.
But just give me Black Uru, sir. If I may pick your brain on something. What you said about, having, as you've been married 31 years, congratulations on that. I mean, my parents will be celebrating 41 years of marriage in about a couple months' time. And I see what your point is. Like, basically, the woman is not have to get on your program. Basically, she has to understand where you're at, and she has to understand your perspective on things. So since you have the final decision, and when you say, no, this is not going to work, this, that, and the third, she understands, okay, maybe there's something he sees that I don't see. And if I ask him why and he explains it to me, maybe I'll understand that. And I'll let it go. Or she has to understand that, like, listen, I don't need to fight him. I don't have to argue with him. I got to make sure the king is all right. As the old saying says, if the king is good, the kingdom is right. It's not about the queen. The queen, or another person once told me when I remember a meme regarding chess. Because they say like
Well, I think we it depends on what we're referring to and what we're concerned about. Because a lot of things that women are concerned about, in my view, in my experience,
yes,
tend to be of minor consequence to most men.
trivial, basically.
Right. Like the furniture, the house, a lot of shit is like, okay, yeah, that works, that's fine, the schools are good, whatever. So a lot of it ain't really about me debating with a woman. A lot of it is about, okay, I appreciate and respect and admire your perspective, and because I have no argument to the contrary, I support that. However, in that few or minor, infrequent instance, I can pull the plug on some shit. That's what you want. And to the extent that you can pull the plug on some shit, and she understands that you can pull the plug on a few situations, that's usually what you want. Because, bruh, when you've been with a woman and you raise children, a lot of shit you're not even really interested in. A lot of shit involving the home, a lot of shit involving the children. Yeah, okay, I go to school. Yeah, okay, I get the clothing. Yeah, okay, the fucking furniture. Yeah, okay. The vast majority in a healthy relationship, the vast majority of the situations you will encounter in a healthy relationship with a woman is not going to be something you got to argue about. The most of it is going to be you signing off on some shit. Sure, yeah. So all this, I gotta be lording over a woman. If I gotta be lording over a bitch, I need to get another bitch. Because I should be able to depend on and rely on her judgment for 95% of this shit.
Good
So
point.
if I can't, I picked the wrong woman right out the gate.
Oof.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand what you say that, man. But I'm just telling you.
Because I got other shit I got to really be focused on that don't have anything to do with really shit that's internal to our family. Most of the shit that I, as a man, should be focused on ain't got anything to do with shit that she's involved with. And if I gotta be concerned about shit that she's involved with, I have picked the wrong woman.
Oh, I've made that mistake once in my life. I don't intend to repeat it.
So a lot of this whole submission stuff, and we talk about it, and it's a real thing, but in the vast majority of instances, I shouldn't even have to pull that card. Because my selection of woman, a female, a wife should mean I don't really have to be concerned about most of that shit.
Great point, sir. I like how that's fair, because like you I like how you explain it. Like the whole thing about submission is not about the question, because so many women get so caught up in that term submission and the semantics about it. Mostly just to trivialize it and just to show that they're not interested in the relationship. But if it was somebody they wanted, they'll change their tune.
But but here's the thing: if I got to be fighting with some woman and she's making a point of me fighting with her and questioning her and quarreling her about everything, then I shouldn't have been. I should not have selected that woman. And I'm not
Uh-huh.
saying that to blame the man. I'm just saying that clearly I have made a mistake with respect to the whole notion of submission and all of that. I have erred in that regard because
Correct.
this is a woman that clearly has not and will not submit to me.
She's
You
not
know,
with it. She's not down with
let
it.
me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brother.
Yes, sir.
There's not a man that could come in my home, in my house, that I don't know. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If there's going to be a man in my house, it come into my house, my wife is going to tell me that this motherfucker came in my house before he came in my house. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, certain kind of like rules and certain kinds of protocols. That's probably the best word to use. If certain things are gonna happen, my wife is gonna know that you know what, I don't have no business having some guy come into my home or some shit happen in my house that I don't know anything about. If I come into my house and certain things have happened, or if there's some man in my house, or whatever fucking changes have occurred in my house and she ain't told me about, she knows she is out of order.
Yep.
And I don't have to tell her about that. She knows she's out of order. Now, if she thinks she can do whatever she want to do and tell me after the fact or some bullshit, then that's a woman you didn't have no business marrying. So I don't know how, like I said, I've been married 31 years. Y'all can do it however y'all want to do it. But if I come into my home and it's been some fucking change and fucking furniture, or I come into my house and there's some man in my house that I didn't know was going to be in my house and did not have approval for being in my house, he's in trouble and my wife is in trouble.
Will be some problems.
So, like I said, I don't know how you younger guys do it. I ain't judging. I ain't quibbling about that because y'all on some different bullshit. But
Hold on. Are you saying? Hold on. Are you saying this
I'm
bullshit?
just saying that it's gonna be some consequences and repercussions. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, a Black Review. Out of 100%, how many Black women you think are good in wife material?
How many women do I think are wife material?
Out of 100%. In our
Out of
community,
100, I don't think there are a lot that are wife material. I would say probably somewhere in the 15 to 20, low 20 percentile. But I will say this to be fair. Y'all don't chin check these bitches enough. Like a lot of stuff that like these younger women do, yeah, and understand, I'm empathetic to y'all because y'all weren't raised right. Y'all weren't raised right. Because certain things that women do, females do today, that females of 30 plus years ago, they might have got tapped up a little bit about.
Ooh.
So, and I'm not saying that to brag or to boast. I'm just saying it was a different kind of environment.
yeah. We know who raised them too. So I mean, it is what it is.
Right. So I'm not saying this to criticize y'all. I understand y'all have a different kind of thing going on, and I appreciate and I understand that the different kind of circumstances you're dealing with, but you can't have a functional relationship and marriage with women if there isn't a certain degree of fear and dread that you can impart upon them. And if you can't impart fear and dread on a woman, particularly in a marriage, then you're going to have a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah.
You are. You just are.
She thinks she can just, because she now thinks of you as a doormat. Just will walk right all over you.
So I really feel sorry for you younger men, because you all have been trained to not impart fear and dread on them. So I don't know what to tell you all, except that you've been lied to, you've been deceived, you've been hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled, led astray, all that, you know. I mean, you've been fucked
When
up.
the rock landed on everybody.
Exactly. You know, so I empathize with you all, because you all have been lied to. Because you can't have no marriage with these women if you can't scare them. You cannot have a marriage with a woman, especially a black woman, if she is not to some degree afraid of you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's a level of fear, because yes,
do you all understand? Do you all you in the panel on the chat, if to some degree she is not afraid of you, you are not going to have an effective marriage.
Or afraid of the consequences if she does something that she shouldn't try. I mean, I remember was like BGS once told a story.
And the tone of your voice, and whether or not on some very small level you might hit her.
What was it like?
And I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you ever have to hit her, and you ever need to hit her, but to some degree, she needs to be afraid that you might hit her, even if it's irrational. Even if it's irrational, even if it's not something. I've never hit my wife. Let me put it this way: 31 years, I've never hit my wife. To this day, my wife is afraid I might hit her. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see what you mean. I've never haven't gotten to that
what
extent,
I'm saying.
But there've been
there's always this fraction of whether or not I'm going to go off, whether or not I'm going to lose it. That's always there with her.
I think I know what you're going at, because I know I'm in another country, but I remember there was this cheese commercial I've mentioned a few times, and Semper Fidelis, I shared a link with him, and he laughed his ass off about it, because in it the man didn't have to get physical with the woman, but he had to introduce consequences. And anytime, well, the premise is like this of this commercial: the woman comes home from the supermarket, and she's got him his favorite whatchamacallit, and he's asking if she got him his favorite cheese. No, she's got him his favorite cheese, and she says, "I got you regular cheese," and he asks her, "You didn't get what I asked for?" And she's like, "It's all the same. It's just cheese." And so, at the end of the commercial, he always finds a way to check her. He does something to flip the script. Like, for example, he replaces her and it's a 4-part series. In one commercial, he just replaces her dog with that was a little spaniel with an Irish wolfhound. Another episode, he paints the entire house black when it had a white interior. And eventually she got on, she understood, and she got back, and she remembered to get back in her place. Because you realize, you know, if she left me, fine. I just get to think my damn self. Yeah. Thanks for coming. All right, sir. Take your time, sir. Hey, Tan, still there?
Yeah. What's up?
I'm cool, man. Hey, you in the Dallas Fort Worth area, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's cool. I got folks over there.
All I was saying was, man, there ain't a lot to select, and even when you are on your P's and Q's as a man, and you're trying to get out here with this whole feminist movement and whatnot, I don't care if you he-man, man, you're not gonna get a lot done with today's woman, no matter what race.
I'll tell you this as well. If she's from an immigrant community, you gotta be careful because, you know, especially if she's Americanized,
yeah,
she can be now without a trouble. I mean, if you remember Eddie Murphy's Raw, we talked about bringing an African chick.
Yeah.
Well,
I was smart about my dating when I was dating. Like, and in Seattle, we got a thing about Asians being FOB means fresh off the boat. That means they weren't Americanized. They didn't act like Americans. So I've always dated cultural women, like women who still had a dad in the house, still would tell me no because they couldn't because their parents were so strict. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I wasn't a whole, it better be free for all or else I'm not talking to you. I respected the culture and the rules of her parents, and that to me brought something to value, because a girl that can just sneak out the house and do whatever, I mean, how many other guys was coming in after me or before me? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but you said it very clearly. I understand exactly what you mean. I mean, I'm an immigrant myself, so I can relate to that. You know, I've come from a strict family culture and everything, family being everything.
Yeah.
But the fact that you got involved with certain women, you were going to learn a little bit about their culture, and that's what drove them to you, right?
Yeah. I was very multicultural, man. Very. I knew how to sit, listen, and watch, and go into the stuff that she liked, as well as
also, if you got involved with the family, you needed somebody to help you. Like if you knew somebody who's from that culture, they could like provide a form of social proofing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're affiliated with certain people, that could give you a leg up and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like they ask you, who's your father? How do you know this person? This person we think is, because they already have this misconceptions about ADOS.
Yeah.
But the fact that you were able to interact with, if you had some friends or partners win that's cool. I mean, I myself.
Well, most of the time I did it by myself, man. I just spoke clearly, looked the mom or the dad in the eye, shook their hand. And it wasn't like I was acting like somebody I wasn't supposed to be. It was a level of respect. I'm talking to an elder, and I've always looked people in the eye, shook their hand. Sometimes people got to learn how to listen well and be good listeners and nod the head and interact in conversation and not be what you want to call minimized. So I never put myself in a minimalist or
compromise. You mean?
Yeah, I never put myself in beneath you. It was, hey, I'm gonna talk to you, but I'm always give you that respect because you're older than me, and you know, dating your daughter or interested in learning something from
I remember anytime I had to go check on my dad, because there were certain hangout spots where the elder men had to meet, and because. Oh, by the way, do you know have I ever mentioned my background to you?
No, what are you?
Eritrean. It's kind of like Ethiopian.
Yeah, man, come on, man. There's a lot in Seattle.
Yeah, well, you know us.
Yeah,
you've been around us.
Yeah,
you probably love the food, don't you?
Deeply love the food, man. I sit at the table with no forks. I'm like, hold on. It's like, nah, you gotta wash your hands, man. You gotta eat this with your
wash your hands. And it's always the right hand. If there's something wrong with your right hand, only then will they allow you to use the left. Even if you're left-handed, you gotta eat with the right.
Yeah, I'm left-handed, so it was hard for me to eat with the right. I just don't understand you guys' coffee, man. Y'all, I was in Austin and then I asked the lady for some coffee. That mug was, I'm like, man, this ain't Starbucks. So I don't know how to or drink the coffee.
Oh, you've never taken part in the coffee ceremony?
No, never.
Oh, okay. There's a rule. Like you can only have 1 or 3. You have to be safe part only in the first round or the third round. It's never a good idea to do seconds. If you want but it depends. If it's a Tigrinya household and an Amhara household, they have different names for it. So you got to know which term to use with who.
So even in Seattle, you have Americanized Eritreans and Ethiopians, and then you have some that are culture that they go to church on Sunday and they
that's what church
have brothers and predominantly their dad or uncles probably had like a body shop, you know what I mean? So I've seen y'all culture and how well y'all stick together and whatnot. So I knew even out of that culture who to talk to and who not to talk to, because it's very evident when you see a fast Eritrean or Ethiopian how she talks and stuff and says the N-word a lot. You know what I mean?
I learned to cut back on that when I was younger, but I remember it's like we said about respecting the elders. Like whenever I had to go check on my dad, like say my mom sent me and my parents to see my dad, and he's usually at a hangout spot with the rest of his friends and all the elderly gentlemen were frequent. Oh, by the way, hang on for anything. Kareem Austin, thank you for the $9.99. Big shout out to you, brother. But like you said about respect, when I went, I would go check on my dad, but I wouldn't just go say, hey, Dad. I would go there, say, excuse me, and then I'd have to say to my father. And I'd just introduce myself to all the men. And my father said, oh, this is my son. Please shake hands. And then I'd introduce myself to everyone.
Right.
And each man would give my father that nod. He's like, you got a good son right there. No matter, even though I had earrings, they were okay. They tolerated the fact that I was respectful and everything. Didn't forget my culture. And the fact that I spent time back home helped a lot for me because, I had to take a crash course and master my mother tongue. But it helped. But like you said, the social proofing everything. So it helps. So when you got involved with your future wife, you knew some people. You had to engage with people. In my case, because I'm up here in Scandinavia, I got to meet a couple of people. And it's a little more open, but one relationship I was involved with, I got to know her brother pretty well.
Yeah.
And her brother looked at me and said, if you want to get involved with her, I appreciate it. I'm cool with that. Because I already proved that I was a good person there. But, it didn't work out, but it was what it was. I remember when she would ask me certain questions. I guess it was because the cultural differences and my Norwegian wasn't that up to par yet, so we conversed mostly in English. And she asked me to move in with her. But in my gut, it was not the right decision. So I had to say, I would, but I can't put you in that position. She didn't understand what I meant, but I had to explain to her later. But eventually it didn't work out, but it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
Are you on the notion that these black men have to go overseas to find good women, or do you think they need to learn on what spaces to go into and where to go to find a good woman? Because, if I was in that predicament, I wouldn't have to go overseas to find somebody that's dope, feminine, and whatnot. I don't have a problem with what they do. I've always said, go just to go and see the culture and then let her be a byproduct, but don't just go for no coochie. But
I would say,
you can find something in America if you just got to know where to go. Step outside your comfort zones. And I don't know if that's because I grew up around Asians, Samoans, white, Spanish, Africans, Ethiopians, so I know who's who. But
oh, by the way, nice ink. By the way, nice tattoos on your face. How many hours you've done in a chair?
A lot. I'm working on my legs right now. So I'm gonna have
because I've always asked that question when I see people tatted up. I can't get tats, but I have to respect it. But anyway, I would say it depends. It varies from the person to person because I'd have to ask the person, what are you looking for? And I've had discussions with people who want to go overseas, and I said, if you're going to go overseas, you better do some thorough research. You can't be, as Chris Rock say, niggerant about the whole thing. Excuse me for using the N-word, but I have to put it in context here. if you want to do it at home, if you want to stay within the States and go someplace within there, I would say always keep your eyes open. If you want to go overseas, keep your eyes open. Maybe different environment, different people, but you have the same general situation.
Mm-hmm.
You are trying to find the right partner that fits for you. If it's not here, it could be someplace else. But you're not going to find that out unless you take a chance here and there and contact whoever you need to contact. I mean, there was an older gentleman we had here a while back who's a widower, and he'd ask us for help on finding a mate. Actually, he had lost his significant other.
Yeah.
And we told him, like, what are you looking for exactly? He said this, that, and all right. And fortunately, Jesse said, especially when he said like he's looking for either a Black woman, doesn't matter if it's African. I said, well, if you're going to look for certain this and that, you're going to need to have a good network of people that can help you understand that. And fortunately, one of our brothers said, reach out to me. Maybe I could introduce you to some people that can help you with the vetting process if you're interested in finding a wife in these parts of Africa, whatever. It's all about helping each other out, but at least that person doesn't have to do doesn't have to go the hard way into everything.
Right.
At least it's got somebody to help him out. There's people to network with, help him out, and try to find the right spouse or spouses. But you got to ask yourself, what are you looking for, and does it have to be a specific person? Not to mention, a lot of brothers who go on passport, I say, do what you want to do, but just make sure you check your fetishes and fascinations and try to get realistic with this thing. I mean, when I came up here, I meet up with a lot of immigrants. A lot of them are shocked that I know something about their nationalities.
Mm-hmm.
Because my father told me, what you learn and what you understand in this world can be the difference between life and death. So I've been interacting with so many immigrants, as well as Scandinavians. But the immigrants, I've had some very interesting interactions. I mean, I've met a good friend of mine. He is second generation French of North African descent. And we talk about like difference in racism in France or parts of Belgium and what it's like up here, and how people have misconceptions about one another. And we talk about relationships and how they work out in certain places, but it's not easy. Like Black Rose says, you got to find a woman to get on, sit on your whatchamacall. In fact, stop me if I go off topic, by the way. But I remember mentioning something like this, and I have to mention this again. Like people said, relationships are like a dance. You know what I'm saying? Ballroom dancing.
Yeah, I'm listening.
So you lead, you're the frame, and she's the picture. So throughout when you guys are on the floor together, you work in tandem, but you're guiding her and protecting her, making sure she doesn't get bumped into anybody while you're just doing your thing. But she's got to be willing to trust you while doing it. I would say a more extreme example of that would be Paris figure skating, because she's got to be willing to trust you to lift her, but he can't lift you if you're like 300 pounds.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, have you ever looked at Paris figure skating? You ever see the size difference between the man and the woman?
Yeah, very skinny. Very skinny.
Not very skinny. She's like diminutive, petite.
Yeah.
That man also has to be lean, especially because he can't be too bulky on the ice rink, because he still has to be flexible. So they have to be. They know what their roles are, and they realize what requirements they both need, individually and together. So that's one way to look at it.
So you bring up.
Go ahead.
You bring up a good point. Even Black Euro was saying something like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you just brought up the metaphor with dancing and whatnot. You got to know how to be a man and have something that a woman can follow for you to get that type of respect as well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it may not be favored, man, but a lot of guys out here probably as well don't know how to lead or be that man. You know what I mean? Not to brag.
How many have been taught?
Well,
how many have been taught?
I wasn't taught. I grew up. I was in a single parent household. My grandpa, Vietnam War, he helped my mom out, but my mom married somebody when I was 12, and he was like a cuck. He was very beta. So only thing he taught me was how to talk through things, like how to have a lecture to somebody and whatnot. So I had to learn myself, and I'm still continuing to learn, but I had to want to learn, right? Not a lot of people want to learn or say, hey, I don't understand, I don't get it. So I got well and good in my trucking business because I wasn't scared at every fuel stop to ask questions to the guys driving the nice Peterbilt and the Kenworth, which is like pretty much a Cadillac and a Lincoln, right? So very expensive trucks, right? So I knew they had good money and they was pulling some good freight. So I had to learn, but I also had to ask, right? And to do my own research. So
yeah. Hey fellas.
You also got
about to shut down.
Okay.
Get up a little bit more tonight for the Coliseum. Thank you, Tan, Namer, Black Uber, Jesse, Edward, and who else?
Black
everybody.
there was
Snowman,
KP as well.
KP, thank you. And I'm gonna bid y'all later.
Woo! All right. Woo! Ooh, yeah.
Woo!